Hey, good evening, everybody, and I guess happy start to our New York Comic Con. But of course, we've learned it the last couple of days of the passing of Keith Giffen. Now, Keith is somebody who I never got the opportunity to meet, which I really regret. I mean, I saw him at shows before, but never took the opportunity to go out and introduce myself. But he and George Perez were the only people who could ever work at DC and get me to read a book. And I can tell you that when I first saw his work on Legion, it was just the covers. I was so smitten by the covers. They look quite similar in weird ways the way Perez would tackle a large team book and storyline. And being an X-Men fan, maybe it made it easier to kind of slide into storylines with characters that I didn't know really well. But Levitz and Giffen really could tell a great story. And again, not knowing anything about the Legion, I was able to jump into those books and love the hell out of them, and not know anything about the writers or the artists. But it was really Giffen's work that sucked me in. I mean, those covers are timeless, right? I mean, they're just absolutely amazing. So again, I really regret not having the opportunity to have ever met him. But there's a lot of Keith's art on CAF. I think there's over 1,500 pieces of art in collectors' galleries, and that's pretty amazing. I think if we were to put a count on the number of artists out there that have 1,500 or more artworks on CAF, it's probably, it's got to be less than 150. So that's a testament to him that he's so well collected and well loved. So very, just another gentleman or artist passing that we're going to miss. And, again, kind of right before New York Comic Con. And I guess at the end of the day, we saw his message about New York Comic Con. That was his way of backing his way out of going to the show. So there you have that. We're going to probably talk about Keith a few different times throughout the show tonight. But as you know, I've got Mr. Bob Layton in the green room, and we usually start these shows off with him. Joey is at New York Comic Con right now, so I don't know if anybody saw Joey at the show. If you did, I hope maybe you should send me a few selfies that you took with the guy, make him feel like he's a celebrity. But if not, I'm sure he's having a good time on the streets in New York this evening. But I've got a little clip to show you from Bob. He's had another drink and draw, and it was pretty eventful, I'd say. So let me get this played in here, and we'll bring Bob in.
In case you were wondering, guys, this is my street in Seoul. This is my building right there. This is the street where I live. It's pretty, at night it's crazy here, as you can imagine. It's a little Las Vegas-y at times. Pretty cool. Maybe more later. And here is my street at night. As you see, it's quite busy. Come on.
No.
That was my eye.
Hey, Kasra and Joey. As you can probably guess, Simone showed up a little tipsy. She went to a teacher's dinner thing after school today. Mm-hmm. So she's a little soju'd, yeah. To say the least.
Oh, check out this bloodshot.
Stop. Oh, okay. Stick with the program, all right? Okay. So remember, this is a limited show.
All right.
So tonight we're doing trading cards. We're going to do a deck of trading cards based on characters in the Spider-Verse. So you can make up your own characters, right? Mm-hmm. Or use the ones that exist.
Yeah.
She's going to be pretty much useless.
No, don't worry. I'll be drawing 2099's ass. Because his ass will have his own card. You see, the Spider-Man ass is canon. Is it PG?
No.
No, I'm sorry. We'll have to take it again.
All right. Meanwhile, while I get her some coffee, we'll talk to you guys after the video segment of the show. No, it's going to be on the show. No, that's going to be on the show. So you say that he's so happy that he's actually crying.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's crying.
Oh, am I drawing them?
Yeah.
Well, you know,
So
that's a shame.
Yeah.
And Alicia's just happy. She doesn't have to cry. All right. So yeah, this is Drink and Draw. Everybody's doing Into the Spider-Verse. Hey, how you doing? What do you, Marquita? What are you doing there?
Oh, I'm doing Spider Rex.
Oh, the T-Rex. You got to do that. What's one boy doing here? No, he's supposed to be on the cards. Oh, you did a great job there. Great job, Simone. Oh, okay, but do as many as you can. Tell him to do as many as he can. What's that?
Do your best. It's my favorite. It's one of my favorites. My favorite will also always be.
You haven't sobered up yet. We're gonna move on.
Now
Okay.
you guys guess.
Lily, what about you? What do you know?
I'm doing Kobe Brown, my boy, my British boy.
Oh, okay, great. All right, wonderful.
He's a K-pop fan.
And this is our newest participant. Bimo, what are you doing? Oh, that's great. I love that.
Oh,
Yeah, very good. Okay.
This color.
So yeah, you're kind of in the zone, girl. Let me give you a look at that there.
I'm almost
Whoa,
done though.
yeah, the colors are crazy.
Right? Like, could I keep
You
it?
like that guy?
Yeah, I do like him. I like his ass too. Could I keep it?
No, it's for
Oh.
kids. It's for charity. What is it? Dude pointing. That's great. That's great.
Kids will definitely love that. They love it.
What flavors are you making of the spider cone?
Oh, pistachio almond and cherry.
Peach almond? This I did this for Cleo
Yeah,
because
pistachio almond.
we love this meme about ice cream. Yum yum. I did spider ice cream.
So it's
Don't
like,
forget the webbing. You got to do like sprinkle webbing.
all right, this is pistachio almond and cherry jubilee.
Okay.
So like that.
Yes. Hey, Bill.
How's it going, man?
I see Cass got the opening with Simone in this week.
He did, and I think I'm to blame for last week, but I did get it posted with the intro in there from last week.
Well, now you understand why I wanted the
Yes.
wrong camera. As I told Castra, I said she's a unique bundle. This one, without
Yeah.
a doubt.
Well, that is quite true. I could tell that you had your hands full without Joey being there to help.
Well, part of the deal is, in Korean culture, when you're part of a team, in her case, she teaches elementary school art, right? Can you imagine having her as your art teacher? I mean, and they do these team dinners. It's a very routine in Korea for the entire staff to go out and have dinner together and discuss work and all that kind of stuff. And there's a lot of soju at those things. Okay. So yeah, she shows up for the show totally saturated. All right.
My goodness.
So we had her sober by the end of the night though.
Well, that's good. So she can drive home.
Nobody drives in Korea. They all take the train and stuff. So I didn't have to worry about that anyway.
Wow. Sounds like if you like to tip a few back, that's the place to live then.
Well, no, it's really part of the culture here. It's like these team building things means you go out and drink a lot of soju or soju bombs, where they, it's like Boilermakers. They drop soju into a beer and drink that. They chug it.
Wow. Well,
yeah,
I
know.
I don't think I could keep up with them then.
As a teetotaler, I totally, I'm out of that loop. But it's culturally just part of the program.
Yeah.
But you see her, she's tiny. She got no body weight at all. So I imagine a couple of shots soju gets her like taken off like a rocket.
Exactly. Yeah, she looked a few sheets
lit,
to the wind there.
lit, yeah. Yeah. but always a lot of fun. That's why we made her the president of the drink and draw chapter, because once I'm gone, is like somebody has to run the thing, and she's used to herding cats, so why not?
Sure. Mr. Red Jack
So-
says it beats orange juice, by the way. So yeah. So
I like drunk and draw. Whoever said that.
yes, that was Dino. Dino's very observant on those sorts of things. But we were talking in the green room earlier about Keith. I mean, obviously a surprise, I'm sure, to you. I mean, you've been on the road for a
very
while,
depressing news. I mean, look, people ask where in the world is Bob Layton. Bob Layton is trying to squeeze in as much of his life as he possibly can, because as Keith is prime example, it's way too short. And we never know when our number's up. So that's why I'm trying to suck the most I can out of life by, like I said, experiencing life here in Seoul. It's like wherever I'm going to go. I mean, I'm talking now, negotiating to go to Singapore here in December. Hopefully we can get that deal done. And like you said, I'm working with Castra and getting back to Orlando for OX. So hopefully we'll be able to do that as well.
Yeah, I do hope
But Keith was amazing. Keith was an amazing guy in 2 or 3 ways. One, he was always a nervous wreck. So being around it made you jittery, He was always high strung, to say the least. But my very first job at DC, and some of you guys out there will remember this because it was ghastly. I don't know how I ever got work. I did Claw the Unconquered. It was my first work with David Michelinie too. But Keith penciled it is kind of schizophrenic. Some of the pages look like Jack Kirby, and some look like Alex Nino. He couldn't decide who he wanted to be, right? And it was just a hot mess, and it was way beyond my abilities at the time. But I struggled through that as much as possible. It's so funny. And then years later, he comes into Valiant, and he's pitching a Harbinger spinoff, like a comedy called Punks, right? And he's got this big spiel lined up, and I'm like, "Fine, you're Keith Giffen, do it." And he's like, "No, wait, but let me tell you all about it." I go, "No, man, I trust you." It's like you did Ambush Bug, you did all this other stuff that was a laugh riot. You're gonna do your Valiant version of that. I'm cool, but I have this pitch. I said, "You don't have to pitch me, bro." It's like it's cool, but so that's unfortunate. But probably the last time I saw him.
Yeah.
Because I don't travel in the same circles anyway. As most comic people, and I don't do that many conventions. So it's like so I haven't seen him in recent years, but it's a loss for everyone, without a doubt.
Yeah, definitely. I regret, I've seen him at shows, but I just never took the time to say hello or, anything. And I regret
there's not that many of us left, I mean, you
I know.
think about it, like I said, all I got to do is stay alive, and I'll become the world's greatest cartoonist by attrition.
That's possible. That is definitely possible. Oh man, but yeah. So what's going on? When's Joey get back from New York? Is he going to be?
Well, he's wheeling and dealing there right now. Right now. Well, it's not. I asked Costa if he sent him a link. I don't know if Joey will chime in at some point or not. I didn't know if he sent him a link or not.
I did. I included him in that email with the.
Well, then he must be in a meeting or something, because he's there doing business. Because you remember because he can't get American comics, back issues and stuff. He's there wheeling and dealing, trying to get like inventory for his store, talking to retailers. Plus, they have the offering of the Hall of Iron prints and the Bob Layton exclusive cover thing that he's doing. Plus, he's working with CGC too, so he's got a lot on his plate right now. So, where in the world is Joey Kroner? That's what we should be asking. Me, I'm in my apartment in Korea. It's like, and I'll be here for the next few months. I'm still waiting for my art. I got my art table. It showed up a couple days ago.
What are you waiting on?
And I got my art chair because my chair is is where I'm sitting my iPad on right now, talking to you. See that little swivel motion there? I got my printer, but I'm still missing a whole bunch of stuff that I need. My computer still hasn't arrived. So that's the big thing, because I need my computer because all my files are on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully it's going to show up. It's here in Korea. It's just held up in customs. So, but I did do some work this week, as you probably know. Costa probably sent you some stuff, and we're going to do a little offering here today. Apparently,
we are. Yeah, we've got a couple pieces we're going to show off. And we'll explain how people can claim
blank covers. I can do sitting on the floor. That's the great thing about that. I don't need all. You don't need
the drawing table to do that.
I don't need all the equipment to do that. I'll sit on the floor watching a movie and do that, because I have to sit on either the couch or the floor, because it's Korea. That's what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Which is hard on your ass when you're 70 years old, by the way.
I'm sorry. So sorry to hear that.
Hey, listen. Otherwise I'm fine. But there are certain concessions you have to make when you're living in a different culture.
Well, you're doing all right. You've been out on the road for over how many months has it been?
8 months.
8 months. And yeah, we had you slated for OAX, and then we thought you might not be able to make it because of your film. And but I think we're going to make it work out.
Yeah,
you're home for the holidays.
The funding, apparently, because the people involved, they have to liquidate assets to move that kind of money. Mm-hmm. Nobody has $10 million sitting around. So as it turns out, it's going to take a little while because the market's really slow. So director told me that it's probably going to be more like April or May. So that frees me up to come to OAX. But the trouble is, we're trying to find me a decent flight there, because it's very expensive that time of year to travel.
For the holiday, yeah.
I'm coming literally halfway around the world. But they'll give me a chance to see my daughter, my grandkids, and Jill and Jason, and my friends and Tyler and everybody in Tampa that I miss terribly. And then Jason and I will come to OAX, because Jason's making the documentary about me too, so he wanted to come to OAX and shoot a lot of that. That way, all the other people there can make fun of me on camera.
Well, he and Kazra met, I think, a few times, right? They kind of
they're working together to do the Kickstarter to do this documentary about my life. I mean, you saw the sizzle reel that he did, right? It was pretty cool.
I don't know if Kazra showed that to me. I remember hearing that there was one, but maybe I didn't.
We should run it one week, because it's actually pretty cool. Okay. But anyway, I'm expecting a lot of these guys here, they're watching the show, when the Kickstarter happens, to do that, because he wants to do a really deep dive. I'm going to need a battery of lawyers for this movie.
Well, you mentioned potentially getting to Singapore in September. Or when did you say you were going to go?
Joey's talking to them now.
November?
The thing is, they've kind of blown their budget apparently, but they really want me to come, so he's trying to negotiate some kind of deal with them. He's meeting with them tomorrow.
But for next month,
hopefully I can get my ass to Singapore, because it's like a commuter flight from here. Okay,
so it should be easy.
Yeah. So and I just want to go, because I'm we're in the world's Bob Layton. I'm supposed to be traveling, so that would be great, because I get to take everybody in CAF to Singapore with me. So hopefully we're going to work that out.
That's right. Well, Mark Fong in Singapore said he's looking forward to welcome you to Singapore if you make it there.
Mark, put pressure on him, man. Tell him you want me there. It's like I think I'm going to bring the entire comic. Dyson Comics Cafe crew with us. I'm going to Cleo. You saw Cleo. That's Joey's wife, and she was coloring the ice cream cone. Mm-hmm. That's Joey's wife. She's awesome, but she's running the store while Joey's in New York City for the con. But we'd like to go down there and like have a table with the cafe, and I don't really care about the money. I just want to go. Mm-hmm. It's just Singapore is on my list of places to visit. So this is where in the world's Bob Layton, and so I got to get on the road.
Yeah, the more countries you can hit, the better.
It doesn't excite me. Okay, I mean, oh my God, Orlando. Oh my God.
Hey,
I've only been there
I
a
know.
million times.
Well, but yeah, David Barr wanted you to know that Australia is close to Singapore as well.
That's true, but if I go do a con in Singapore, the next thing on my mind is not jumping to another country to do another con. Plus, I've been to Australia 4 times, 5 times. So it's not. It's again, the whole theme of Where in the World is Bob Layton is the fact that I am going to places that I've never been. So as much as I love Australia, and granted, you let people know they're in Australia that I'm here and I'm available. And it's not quite the haul as it used to be, like 18, 22 hours or something like that from LA or whatever. It's a little shorter trip from here. I'm not opposed to it, but again, that's not really part of the criteria of this trip. This around the world year-long journey is Where the World is Bob Layton is supposed to be places that none of us been to, right?
Right. You need to experience the culture, eat
Exactly.
strange and interesting foods. I get it. I get it.
Yeah, exactly.
So you want stuff? You ever been to Manila?
No, I haven't. So we could put that on the list too. So now that I'm based out of here for the time being, because I'll be here till April probably. All these things become available because they're all like commuter flights. I mean, when I went to Thailand, that was only like 5.5 hour flight.
Sure,
it's like traveling across country, in the States. So it was nothing, So yeah, all of Asia has opened up to me now. So I'm game.
Awesome. What about New Zealand? Josh wants to know if you've ever been there.
I've been there. Already.
Been there already.
Auckland, yeah. Me, Chris Judge did a con there years ago. From Stargate.
Oh yeah.
So Chris Judge, yeah, and it's like interesting story. Another time.
Yes, maybe in the green room before show sometime we talk about
that. The
New Zealand.
Kiwis are like awesome people. They are the most friendly people on the planet, without a doubt. They are so friendly, you become suspicious of them. Yeah, I have a really funny story.
That's almost a terrible thing to say about a culture.
It really is. But I met the ambassador to New Zealand when I went to the movie premiere a few weeks back. Remember? Yeah, and it's like I told her that, and she goes, it's actually true. I can see where you did that because the people just treat you like you are family from the time you. I mean, they're just so nice, But I have a great story about me, Ian Churchill, Chris Judge, and Bruce Boxleitner. It takes too long for the show here, but maybe another time because we put a practical joke on Bruce. It was fantastic.
Well, I'm intrigued. Yeah, maybe
New Zealand. Yeah.
All right.
Ian just kept going up to the tower. There's like a Space Needle there, and he kept jumping off of it on a bungee cord because he's like an adrenaline junkie.
Well, I do like Ian's artwork.
Yeah, Ian's great. I love him. He's like a brother, but he's a nut for anything that would get his adrenaline going.
You didn't jump off of it?
No, hell no.
All right.
That's not my idea of a good time was chasing the flight attendants from Air Emirates.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hey, you know what? Why don't we talk about? We're going to show a couple pieces of art. We've never done this. We've had 18 episodes with you on here, and we've never shown anything that people can actually. Well,
I need to make some money now because I spent so much.
Rent's due, and well, you got 3 weeks until rent's due, so you got some time. But so yeah, we were talking before the show. We thought it'd be fun to give people the opportunity to pick up some of these pieces that you've been working on. I'm actually I have a piece of art that I got in the mail.
Did you get it? Did Joey send it?
Well,
to you?
I think it's from Joey. I can't tell.
Yeah.
He sent me this thing, and it doesn't have a name here.
I'm pretty sure that's your Punisher. Open it up. Oh.
All right, fine. I'll open it up. See, okay.
Open it up.
I didn't tell you, but it's always a surprise. All right,
but it was also a gift. I mean, I'm trying to show people how magnanimous I am.
Exactly. Well, that's probably good to do before we try to sell them some art. So what a nice guy you are.
Well, because it appeared on the show, and you have a thing about that.
I do.
And so,
You've got a lot of art.
thanks to Joey, and let's give Joey a lot of credit for going to the trouble. He gifted it to I gifted it to you, and he made sure you got it.
Well, he's double wrapped it.
Well, everybody who runs a comic shop, you know how that goes. Usually, radiation can't get through most of the packaging, you know.
Well, okay, he's triple wrapped it. I'm almost to the middle of this thing.
Welcome to the wonderful world of comics. You ever get a package from Spencer? You literally need to have lasers, like surgical lasers, open it. It's totally vacuum sealed, airtight.
Let's see. When was the last time I got something from Spencer? Probably, I don't know, 17 years ago.
He doesn't allow a molecule of air to get in.
Well, it's been a while. But yes, I mentioned to you guys that I really wanted to get this piece, and instead of me buying it from you, you gifted it to me. And this was from that your first themed drink and draw.
That's right.
The gender bender.
Thank you, Joey, for doing that.
Yeah.
And thank you, Bill, for having me on for the last 17 weeks.
I thought this was awesome. No, it's been a lot of fun having you on the show, Bob. Tom, sorry.
Yeah, get it right.
You did sign it, Bob, though. Okay, very good.
Yeah. Well, I did it before Tom raised his evil head.
Oh man! All right. Well, listen. We're getting close to the half hour mark. I got a couple other people in the green room, so let's talk about. Okay, so we just got 3 pieces to show you. I think we've previewed them maybe I don't even remember. I think maybe last week when we were showing some of the work that you were. You
might have previewed the Flash. The other two,
Oh, that's right.
Well, one was a commission that I did based on a famous general here in Korea.
Mm-hmm.
That one's not for sale, obviously. That one was a commission. But just pop them up there. We'll talk.
Yeah. Let's see.
Time is short.
Time is short. Yes, I've got the slides here. So this one. So they're all sketch covers, by the way. We've got 3 of them. And you know how the claims work in the chat, everybody. If you want to claim anything, you just type claim Tom. You can put Bob in there. We know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
And the number 1. So this is Ron. We did show this one last week. I remember seeing this one.
Yeah. But like I said, I just did them. I didn't really put them up for sale or anything like that. I just did, because like all I can really do right now is blank covers. So Joey gave me a handful of them, and so I started working on them just so I could get back in the swing of doing stuff. So. Again, remember, they look so much nicer in person because, the camera is not kind on these iPhones to color. And that's why it looks so rough. It looks so much nicer in real life.
I am certain that it does. So this is our first one. And I think the second one is the one that we definitely didn't see before. I think it was in the little video intro.
He had this blank Batman, and I really... being a former pupil of Dick Giordano, I really wanted to kind of channel him a bit,
Mm-hmm.
So I really wanted to. I thought it'd be a nice companion piece to the Flash because I don't do that much DC stuff. There's not that much demand. Even when I post it, I get less likes because I'm just not known as a DC guy. But it's kind of fun to do it once in a while. So I kind of decided to channel my own mentor here and do a Batman.
Well, as I think you've written that Giordano was like a father to you in many ways.
He was, but he was also one of the best Batman guys ever. And he did all that classic work with Neil and Denny O'Neil on Batman as well. So I just would try to do something kind of like as a tribute to him. So I put the work in, that.
Yeah, of course. And then one more DC character here, the Flash.
Yeah, this was I grew up loving the Flash when I was a kid. The Carmine Infantino. So I did kind of a homage to that. Like I said, the Batman and the Flash are kind of same sort of composition. But I was worried about this yellow paper, but it actually works out pretty good. It takes color really well too. It's like. Better than some of the Marvel stuff. So it was like it was kind of fun to do this.
Very nice. And hey, I want to let everybody know if you end up claiming any of these, or you want to talk to Bob and arrange purchasing these, I made a little, where the heck is it? I can highlight this there. You just email bob@boblayton.com. You can PayPal them that way too, but I assume if anybody has a question, they can shoot you an email there too, Bob. And shipping is $25 FedEx. And I know that you're sending these into
the Spencer. Spencer's going to disseminate them out to the various purchasers. So I send him one package, and then he makes sure everyone gets it. So that's the easiest way to do it.
Got it. So there you have the 3.
Do you have the General there, the Iron Man?
I didn't get that one.
No. It was because that was the one where the guy was crying when I gave it to him. Casra, what happened?
Well, I know that it was in the video, but I wondered why I didn't have that one.
No, I sent it to him because I killed myself on this thing. Man. You know.
Well, that one. Well, okay, I'm not gonna. I threw Casra under the bus the last time. I don't want to do it again.
He actually broke into tears when when he got it last night. You know, it's like they're very emotional here. I can tell you, it's like. There's not much about, commission will make me cry.
I don't see it in the email from Casra. It's in the folder.
Okay.
See, he emailed these 3 to me, and the other one was in a folder that I don't have downloaded at the moment.
We'll show it next week.
We'll show it next week. Exactly. We'll save it for that.
Some more stuff, and we'll show it next week.
Okay. All right. Well, that's my fault.
All right. So Cass and I will keep working on the OAX thing, but
well, hopefully we'll have something to announce next week, more official.
I would like to do maybe an exclusive print for the show too, if possible. I'll work that out with you guys. Something totally cool. In the range of the Hall of Iron or something.
That would be cool. And if we get to offering any kind of like pre-con sketchy stuff, I know number one Marvel fan mentioned that he needs a ROM on 11x17. If we were going to
now you got the info,
we'll be
make sure when you order, if you order commissions or whatever, make sure your address is on that. I can't tell you how many times guys have sent me money. I mean, they sent me like $1,000 and then no address. It's
I get it.
I'm like, wow,
that's why whenever I do a claim show, I always ask people to send me their mailing address up front. Because there's a lot of people that they get to the money
and mailing address. And remember that since we're using FedEx, you got to put your phone number in there too.
That is very true.
Yeah.
So, all right, Bob. Well, listen, fun as always.
Drink and draw is, like I said, it's been a nice ongoing kind of thing. We've yet to get some more of the Korean celebrity artists in yet, but that's Joey's working on them now. But it's so far it's been a lot of fun. That's the main thing, and people are learning. Everyone, they say at the end of the night they've learned something about how to draw a little better or whatever, and that's the whole point. Is to have a good time and learn a little something while you're there.
Exactly. Well, hopefully next week you'll have done one thing experimental with regards to your diet, and you'll videotape it for us.
Yeah. The trouble is that with Joey being gone. And Cleo has to, she's got family obligations and stuff like that, and the store that we haven't had a lot of time to go out and eat like penis fish or anything,
There's always next week. There's always next.
Yeah, there's still plenty of geeky stuff here to eat. Don't worry about that. I'm sure they got the stuff in Singapore. If I get there in December, I'm sure there'll be some interesting stuff there. But don't worry, we'll have some more surprises for you without a doubt.
All right. Well, Mark Fong will take you out if you go to Singapore. I think he'll at least.
All right, Mark. I'll hold you up to that. All right.
Now that I put him up for
it. Thank you, Bill.
Not a problem, Bob. Take it easy,
week, brother.
You got it. Always fun to hang out with Bob or Tom, whatever we want to call him today. So no, it's always good. But we're gonna do probably show off a few things here and there just to get Tom some extra rent money, so he can go out and buy those fanciful meals that he's been talking about all the time. I don't know what Jason and Kaz are. There's a whole total different conversation going in there in the chat about Bob and a Marvel Team Up 117 cover that I've been missing out on. But Jason went to New York Comic Con today, and the guy buys art all the time. You'd think that he'd take the day off. And while he was there, he sent me a picture. he laid out his haul and, and just took a photo of it. He's probably shared it at least 100 times on Facebook already because he's proud of it. I won't say what he's got if he hasn't shared it with everybody yet, but Jason, you got to take a break from all that art buying just once or twice. Welcome, Antoine. So, hey, speaking of OAX, as you heard, we're trying to work it out with Bob because he is on the other side of the globe and we got to get him here. But we've been slowly rolling out, guests here on the show and people who are exhibiting. And we've got two gentlemen who are going to be exhibiting at OAX in January with us tonight. So let me bring these two gentlemen on. One I've had on before and one I have not. So I've got Michael Finn and Chris Kalecki. Hey, welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Hey, Bill, how are you? Michael, how are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Couldn't be better. It's nice to have you both on. And Chris, I mean, we've emailed a lot over the years and have never met. So it's wonderful to have you on the show finally after all this time. No. You might become a regular, at the rate this is going to go on, because we might be doing we will be doing another show in November.
That's right. That's right. Got that scheduled. Looking forward to it. Appreciate all the support on pretty much everything, Bill. First project's in the can and we're working on our second. It's been great working with you and really appreciate all the support and some of the projects that we're putting out.
Well, it's, I think the more, especially, it's funny, the idea that both of you guys are here with me tonight. You're both really helping bring, either projects that are from the past or ones that are tied to the past. Michael, obviously, his penchant for artwork in the golden age, the 50s and 60s. I mean, just it's just cool to have you both here together at the same time, because you're really kind of helping foster a long-lasting legacy of these artists that I think a lot of people have forgotten about. And in some cases, never heard the names. And the work that you're both doing is just, is wonderful. I mean, I don't even know where to start as far as the things that the Lance Allen book was phenomenal. I appreciate that, getting that in the mail. There it is. See, mine's over there.
He's doing my job for me. I love it. I love it.
I mean, that was a gorgeous book. You look at the IDW artist editions, and they've done a great job. I think that book was better in many ways than what we get out of the artist edition. It was just a true labor of love, and I think you presented the works in such a way that really it was inspirational. I mean, it gave me a different insight into it, because I've never seen any pieces by him in person. So being able to see those pieces in that book was just it was wonderful. And as I'm a fledgling strip collector, so I've only got about 5 or 6 strips, but it makes you want to collect. I mean, it's amazing how much wonderful work is out there by many creators in strip arts, especially during that era, that get overlooked. And they're still really affordable. I mean, I think that we're always so focused on the spandex and that side of comics, but I think there's a lot of great storytelling, and we're here because we love art. And the wonderful thing about those strips is they're just absolutely stunning works of art.
No, they are. And I got a couple of one of 3, by the way. There's 2 other partners, Roger Clark and Guy Mills. Roger's going to be a part of our show in a couple of weeks. And just by way of background, I mean, Michael's a great friend. And, we have many airport conversations comparing notes about what it is we're trying to do and the best way to do it, and bouncing ideas off of one another. But OAX is going to be a nice chance, Bill, for those people who have an interest in actually seeing actual art. So we did our best with the book to reproduce the art in original color at original size. But we intend to have some of David Wright's original art, both as commercial work and then examples of strips, which, I don't know the last time that I was at a con that I saw any original art from David Wright, quite frankly, strip or otherwise. And so one of the objectives that we have of going to the show, in addition to kind of the passion project that is elevating his name and his creation, Carol Day, is to let people see what some of that original art looks like. We'll do that in the form of prints specifically for the show. We're going to have original art with us for sale while we're down there. So I know we're down there really as a publisher, but we're collectors, we're enthusiasts. And, the whole thing kind of generates this. Trust me, Michael can probably attest too. These are not money-making objectives. These are passion projects. These are passion projects where you do love what you see, and you just want fellow folks who are kind of in that same universe to be able to enjoy it and to see it in a special way. And so we did that through the book. We got another book coming out, Jack Slingsby, and we'll actually have original art with us down at OAX.
Wonderful. And that's I love the approach that I'm sure you both are taking to the show. Just the idea, and because we've got a few galleries that are down here in Florida that are thinking of exhibiting. I think we've definitely got one locked in, but we haven't announced them yet. So there's going to be a lot of opportunity for people to see artwork that they're not used to seeing at a regular art con, like the ones in New Jersey or the ones in California or going to New York Comic Con. And that's what's going to make this show special. We want to really focus on all of the narrative arts. And it's just going to be a unique opportunity to see things in a setting where you don't feel rushed, that folks like yourself are happy to bring artwork to show, even to sell, and and talk very knowledgeably about these creators and their works that you would never get the opportunity to do anywhere else. So yeah, OAX is shaping up to be a very fun show and very interesting. And again, the great thing is a lot of people are looking at it as different, as an opportunity. How can I go to the show and do something special that I wouldn't be able to do if I set up at a different show? And that goes, the exhibitors, the artists that are coming. It's been a lot of fun having having people kind of look at it and say, how can I craft this into being something that is special for you too? Because at the end of the day, it's going to make it a truly unique experience for all the attendees that are coming. And that's what we want. We want people really feeling that they've gotten a really rewarding experience out of it and gotten to meet people that they've seen on CAF for a very long time. I mean, both of you have had CAF galleries for a number of years. So this is, again, like I say, this is going to be a wonderful time. And
I think, Bill, if people really want to make it special, because I don't think Chris has ever exhibited at a show. So the most special thing for everybody will be to go find Chris and see his beautiful book, because I felt it was a challenge to every independent publisher. It is so well done and so beautiful. As soon as I got it, I called Chris and said, okay, I now have to step up to hardcover. I've got to really step up my game. Here I was happily losing money on my comic books that I was put, but now I've really got to lose money because I want to make something as beautiful.
That's kind of you, Michael. Appreciate that. And we're table mates, so I help anybody who stops by, Bill. You get the 2-for-1 special with Finn.
No, I get it. And I publish an art annual too, and so I know what you guys were saying earlier. It's not unless you're doing a lot, like bigger publishers like a John Flester or whatever. There's not a lot of money to be made. You really got to love what you're doing, or it's just not worth it, because the effort, the time, if you kind of quantified the amount of hours you put into a project and what you actually profited, you would shed a tear. Your wife would probably divorce you, and that's just kind of how it goes. But you have to love what you're doing, and I think anybody working in the arts, and my book is in the arts, the stuff that you guys are doing, obviously, and it's that's just that is satisfaction enough usually, as far as being able to make any money at it. But again, it's a labor of love. And so the thing is, Chris, at that point in time, will you actually have kind of maybe a proof copy or anything like that for the Slingsby book, or are you going to, or where will you be at in the development of that? I know that the pre-orders need to be done before the middle of November.
Yeah, November 15th is our last day for taking pre-orders. So we'll take pre-orders for that book. We'll go to print with whatever the number is. We're working on final final edits of the book right now. Mm-hmm. Possible that I'll have something, at least maybe some example pages in print form. We'll have Lance Hallam with us. We still have copies of that with us, but we won't. The final book will be distributed out of the Book Palace in the UK. End of the first quarter, sometime in the second quarter, 2024 is the plan right now. And we're already turning our attention to the next book, if you can believe it. So we haven't spent enough money on the first two. So we're trying to figure out other ways to set money on fire. But you do speak to something really important. I mean, one thing you mentioned, Scott at IDW as an example. I mean, and Michael's probably had the same. I mean, and you're a good example, Bill. I mean, the level of people around the world who, once they kind of get a hint of how passionate you are about something, it would be hard to describe to you how many folks from our community have been helpful in trying to find strips, preach the gospel, spread the word, different thoughts and ideas. Scott could not have been more helpful and more gracious in thinking about what to do from a publishing standpoint. So he's just one micro kind of example of just such a long list of people. Brian, who does the cover, Brian Bowling. I mean, he's an artist. He loved it when he was a kid. He connected with the art, and that's why he's another fan. He's an enthusiast, and that's why he's part of our team. So he and Scott are great examples of just, quite frankly, like dozens of people across the globe that were like, hey, this is really cool. Love what you're doing. How can I help? And got engaged in it. You're a good example too. You've been so helpful with advertising and announcements, and tonight in the interview we're going to do in a couple of weeks. Can't tell you how much we appreciate that. But it really kind of overall results in a level of utility and fun in something well beyond the economic. And thank God for that, but well beyond the economic. So
sure. Well, it's again, I remember when you were doing the call for originals, scans of originals to get that first book done, that it took a while, because the artwork was pretty, it was a bit scattered, and you wanted to be able to complete it as best as possible. And I would imagine throughout that process, you probably met a lot of collectors that you weren't aware of. And, all those things are good. It makes the hobby a more fun place, right? When you get to discover other collectors who have the same interests as you, passionate about the same artists and the same stories. I think that I'm sure it was rewarding beyond just getting the book published at the end of the day.
It was, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Now, the only bad news, the one dividend of all that is, I mean, the market for David Wright art, Carol Day stuff, I mean,
yes,
it's hard to.
I did notice that, because I was turned on to it by looking at it, and then I see where the current market's at, and I'm like, well, that's probably a little bit out of my range these days. But again, it's worth it. We always talk about that here on the channel. How you're wondering when these our art genre that we love, whether it's strip art or comic art, is really going to get recognized as a piece of fine art in its own way and be valued appropriately. I mean, we're finally seeing that, and it's not a bad thing. I think at the end of the day, I think the next step will be you'll see more of these pieces collected in museums and universities, and hopefully be presented in a manner that it's very fitting for these artworks. So it's all part of the I think the evolution of this art medium just getting the recognition that it deserves. And the thing is, what both of you guys are doing is integral to making those steps getting us closer to that point. And I do want everybody to know that in the show description there is, at least if you're on YouTube, and I think everybody who's chatting there's a link to get over to Chris's book, so where you can pre-order it. And Michael also has a Kickstarter that's starting next Tuesday. Yes, Tuesday. And there's a link for Michael's Kickstarter as well. So it starts on Tuesday, but you can go over there and set yourself up to get a reminder when it launches, and that way you'll be able to get any notifications that Michael's got going on with the Kickstarter as well. So Mike, do you want to talk a little bit about what you're doing with that?
Yeah, so I originally started, and I'll plug it for a second. I write a book about World War II superheroes, and Mark Wade's our editor, and all these great artists, and we're all happily doing that. But as an art collector, I ended up buying the archives of Bernard Bailey Publishing, and Bailey helped co-create the Spectre. He worked in the 40s. He had his own studio. The great Mac Raboy was in there, and Infantino started there at 16. So I bought the archives, and then I find out I have hundreds of pages of unpublished Golden Age art. And I just really thought, I can't be the only one that sees this. So we just put out, this is the Great Gazabo. Can you see that?
Yeah, I'll go.
Yeah, there you go. So there's the Great Gazabo, and I'll just show an interior. This was all done in the 40s. And I had it colored, and we put it out. We put out 2 issues. We have a modern cover. Felix Comic Art, Chris Mooneyhand gave us a great modern cover. And we're about to put out issue 2 and 3, which all feature a character called the Boogeyman. The Boogeyman was in 4 comics in the 1940s. He was actually in 6, but 2 of them were just the exact copy of the other one. So that was kind of strange. A company printed issue 1, and so we like it so much, we'll make issue 1, issue 2, and just printed the same. But that was the golden age of comics. So anyway, we're going to publish all these lost boogeyman stories that nobody has ever seen. And we are going to publish one that was only published in England in 1946. So we have that one that exists, we think, in less than 10 comic books. So somehow these golden age stories, some were published only in England in 1946, and nobody in America has ever seen or read them. So this is issue 2. On the left, you see Chris Mooneyham from Felix Comic Art Stable, and he does a great drawing of the Boogeyman. On the right, that is an unused splash page from the Bernard Bailey archives, and we had Bob Almond ink it. And that's the vintage cover for issue 3. So you see the modern variant on issue 2 and the vintage for 3. And yes, the Boogeyman looks just like the Spirit. Bernard Bailey's great epiphany was he would just make a bunch of superheroes that look just like other ones. Here on the left is the vintage cover by John Junta, and on the right is the modern one by Mark Texiera. If I could just comment a second, you'll see this is Spook Comics. Spook Comics, Bailey did 2 or 3 covers. He wasn't sure what he would do. He thought it would feature the Boogeyman. This has never been seen since 1946. Instead, he put a different character in Spook, and so the Boogeyman didn't even make it into that comic by Bailey. So this will be the first time this cover's ever seen print, and I wanted to leave the original logo on it so people could see it.
That's really nice. So when you bought the Bailey archives, that came with the ability to the printing rights as well, I assume?
Yeah. So what happened was one of Bailey's partners bought all of the art, all of the copyrights, and all of the intellectual property. Okay. He bought it in 1946. I bought it from his 93-year-old daughter, so she was alive and could tell me all about her father. She gave me a picture of the closing dinner with Bailey and her dad, and everybody signed it. And Bailey had a note how that you're going to become a great publisher. I know you will. And he never published it. He got involved in TV and 100 other things. And he kept the art in his house and kept telling his daughter, you need to be publishing all this comic art. I got the IP. I got everything. You can publish it. The daughter says to me, I was busy. I wanted to go to school, raise a family. I didn't want to be in comic books. So she kept it in her, I'm not sure if it was the basement or attic, since 1946. And then I started buying it and bought more of it. A few pieces they auctioned. I bought almost all of those. A few pieces our good friend Mike Berkey bought. And, you know, I just want you to know, if you want to get Mike to sell you stuff, call him up and just cry. Just keep crying and say, look how much I have. And you only have 10 pages.
Does that work? It never worked for me.
I had to drive to his house and keep crying and crying. And I have to be honest, Mike was very generous. I really wanted to get those 10 or 12 pages to have with the archives to publish. He could not have been kinder. I mean, I really owe Mike really great thanks.
Well, that worked out good. So, so that's interesting. What was the condition of the artwork? That if she was storing it in a crate or something like that? I mean,
so,
it wasn't bagged, right? In any way.
Hundreds of pages in like the kind of bags, like garbage bags, and scattered all over. So occasionally I'd buy one page here, and then in purchase number 4 or 5, I'd buy a few more. I'd find more of my story. A couple times, 1 or 2 of our stories were missing 1 page. And so Mark Wade and I decided with everything else we had, we would put it together. Mm-hmm. But the art was largely pretty good. We actually have we have an unpublished timely story. We have an unpublished timely story. There was a character called Tommy Time by Dan Barry, and we have a Dan Barry Tommy Time. We can see him circling the word Tommy in every panel saying, change it to Frankie. And then Bailey had a character called Frankie Faraway, and we have all these Frankie stories in one unpublished. Tommy Time was probably in 15 timely Marvel comics. Mm-hmm. And the story we have was never published. We think maybe Dan got called up. He served in the war. We think he got probably left for World War II. And Marvel never got around to publishing that story. So it was sitting in the Bailey archives as they attempt to change it into Frankie Faraway.
So was Barry like 18, 19 at that time, do you think, Michael?
Yeah, they're all kids. Almost all kids. And then to digress for a second, Bailey had all kids, and then he had, for something that Chris might find interesting, a number of veteran strip artists that were down on their luck. A man named Charles Voigt, who was one of the great strip artists of the early 1900s. His strip ran from 1902 to 1943 or something, and when it ended, he sadly had to go into comics. Munson Paddock, who drew in some of the first DC comics written by the Major, Malcolm Wheeler. He ended up at Bailey. So there are a couple of these old style strip guys now working in comics with a bunch of youngsters running around.
Very interesting. So what other artists were active in the Bailey studio?
So let's see, John Junta, who people may or may not know, Howie Post, who did Funny Animals. He did Anthro. Carmine Infantino and Gil Kane got their starts there. Lee Ames, who went on to write a whole art series, How to Draw, called like 50 Animals, 50 this, 50 that. Frank Little, another funny animal guy. Macra Boy was shared space with him, but didn't work for him. So that and there are a whole bunch of other names that seem to come and go. Froelich was there, Voigt was there, and if you see Voigt's art, it looks so much like Charles Dana Gibson or something. It looks like it belongs in 1908 or 1910. And then a crazy artist, if anyone's ever researched him, named Munson Paddock. He started in strips also. He was never that famous, but his art is outrageously bizarre. And anybody who's ever seen Paddock's art will never forget that they have seen Paddock's art.
Well, I haven't, so I've written the name down because I'm intrigued. There's not many artists who strike you in that way that you'll never forget them. So
you will never forget.
It's a challenge for me now.
Slapstick Comics 1. Go look at Slapstick Comics. You will see Munson Paddock. You'll probably need a drink afterwards. You will seriously be changed for all time.
Man, I'm looking forward to this moment. Chris, are you familiar with Paddock's work?
No, I'm not. But anything that induces alcohol. I mean, I guess when I take a shot,
Well, that's pretty impressive, Michael, that you're able to fall into that. And that you're putting it back out there, and you've got Wade's help and everything. I think that's fantastic.
And I would echo what Chris said. So many people have helped me. George Hagenauer, Roger Hill, when I wanted to identify artists, lots of collectors, Mike Berkey, a couple other guys, David Odell traded me a couple pages he had to complete stories. I mean, everybody I've asked has been super nice to help me drive this along. Every single person, unfailingly. And Bill, while we won't talk about all you've done, you put me in touch with some people we're going to make an announcement in Orlando, our company. We're going to do something really cool, I think. It'll be a hardcover, and I think every single person on ComicArtFans will know our subject when we announce who the person is, but we're pretty excited about it.
As am I. Yeah, that was it was interesting, and the thing is, it's back to, again, it's an OAX announcement, something that's going to be really special. And I mentioned that earlier. Just fun to have this show be kind of a launching point for different projects. Certainly, there's a few businesses I think that are going to be making really big announcements. One's starting out there, and I just think that's wonderful. I mean, they're viewing OAX as an opportunity to do those things. You guys are, and again, I couldn't be more grateful. I think it just it makes the show that much more interesting for the people who are going to be there. And like Jeff Singh said, you can only have the first show once, and you want to make something special happen there. Jeff's going to be there. He's going to have a collector tables, so he's going to have a lot of strip art with him, Chris. I mean, that's going to be pretty interesting.
Oh, I was just talking to him tonight. So talking about what he plans on doing down there. It's going to be a lot of fun, Bill. It's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, Michael probably hasn't told you he's planning on Pillars of Fire at our table, and so I don't know how popular that's going to be. But
I don't light them until the fire marshal is walked through. I think we need to get the blessing at the beginning of the show before we have any people walk in. So don't light anything until after that's over, Michael. But there's a pool right outside the back door. I mean, we could definitely probably do that out there and be safer anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I will just say, as a comic art collector, a pool is the second scariest thing in the world after a pillar of fire. So I would prefer to have neither of those.
All right. Well, then make sure you don't have any art at the pizza parties, Saturday around dinner time. That's probably the third thing that you don't want to have anywhere near
Grease.
original art.
Grease.
Wow.
Yeah.
We didn't think that one through. Well, that's okay. We'll have plenty of napkins and white gloves for people, I think, and Mylar. We'll definitely make sure there's plenty of Mylar to go around. Oh man, but yeah, again, this is gonna be a lot of fun, and as they mentioned, Chris and Michael are gonna be sharing a table, and we haven't even got the. Well, I tell you, I've got about 4 or 5 different drafts of how we're gonna lay the room out, and I think we're still gonna probably go through 4 or 5 more of those before we finally get it all worked out. But the thing is, the space is beautiful. We have lots of natural lighting. It's gonna feel, truly like an art show, which is what we want. And I think it's gonna. I don't think we're gonna have a. There's not a better place in the U.S. for a show like this than the one that we've got picked out. I mean, there probably is better, but I probably couldn't afford any of those, so I'll take the one I've got.
In January for Chicagoan, sounds amazing. Sounds amazing. Yeah, Orlando.
Exactly. So just a reminder, everybody, in the description, links to both of these guys' sites where you can sign up for a Kickstarter and get information on that. For Chris to do the pre-order on the upcoming book, which needs to be, you need to get your pre-orders in by November, the middle of November.
15th. Yep.
15th for sure. Yes, the 15th. So that you can guarantee yourself a copy. I'm sure you guys print a few extra ones, but I mean, at the end of the day, you want to guarantee yourself a copy. And so you didn't go the Kickstarter route, for doing these. Pre-orders worked really well.
So it's funny. We talked to Michael was hugely helpful in terms of thinking through that process for us. And ultimately, it's a combination. Actually, remember, this is a British strip, right? And so for a variety of different reasons, printing and distribution in the UK, there's a whole batch of people in the US that read it and are enthused about it, but for a variety of reasons ended up going just more the direct approach with a distribution partner in the UK.
Okay.
Yeah, but talk to Michael was, again, going back to how everybody helps each other. Michael and I had a long, both of us stuck in airports conversation about Kickstarter. So that's what we do in our free time. We just call each other and talk about our respective projects.
Now, had you? Did you guys know each other before you started the project? I assume you guys had to have, and you've been in the hobby, both of you, for a very long time.
Yeah, Michael obviously is just an institution in our hobby and just known as one of the all-around kind of great guys in it. And so I try to gravitate towards people like that and see if they'll hang out with me, and he's chosen to do so. I don't know why.
No, let's tell the real story. The real story is the great collector, who is another wonderful person, Ron Sonnenthal. I think he and Chris are really good friends. Yeah. I view Ron as the center of a wheel with many spokes, and I'm just out at a tiny little end of the spoke, but he was kind enough to introduce me to Chris and to the other Chris, and we always look forward to seeing Chris Kyra also, and being out in San Diego and having dinner together. And I have been very privileged that the Chicago boys have allowed me to accompany them from time to time.
Hey, Bill, if you want to know how popular the show is going to be, I'll tell you, like, a sign of the apocalypse, my wife is coming with me to the show in January. I mean, like, literally, Chicago River is running blood red. There's locusts everywhere, frogs. She's never been. We were dating. She went to a con with me. This is back 25, 30 years ago.
And she still married you, though.
She's still married to me. She's still married to me. She debates it every once in a while, but she is going to be down at OAX. So just think about that. That's a heck of a statement for folks who don't know me or her very well. So. Well,
I mean, the one thing, we did promote it as, this is an opportunity to have your significant other come out with you. And, it is, Florida in the middle of winter. And we've sold, quite a number of couples tickets. I couldn't tell you exactly what the number is, but I'll bet you at least 24 spouses are going to be coming along. So, I don't know, so I think it's gonna be a great thing. My wife's going to be there. She'll be manning the registration desk and hanging out and everything. I just think it's an opportunity to do that where most shows you don't have that. I mean, is your wife really going to want to travel to New York Comic Con with you? No. Not at all. She might like.
How about original art con? It's my wife. I'm going to go to Secaucus.
Right. So this is different. This works out. You tell them there's going to be a reception. We're going to have you don't have to be there with me on Sunday, or even Saturday. But there's things for them to do. It's not just the parks. The beaches are an hour each way, east and west. I mean, there's plenty of things to do in the area. So if they get bored halfway through the show, they'll and guess what? They've got two dozen other spouses to go do something else. So so there. But
Bill, I am counting on that big time. My wife will be there. I'm counting on everyone to keep her. I will tell you, while my wife apparently loves me, I cannot say that she shares my complete and total passion for 1940s art. I mean, it's been very sad, heartbreaking, actually, but what can one do?
Well, hey, along those lines, one potentially really contentious issue at OAX is if my wife finally actually meets Jeff Singh, oh my gosh, because she holds him responsible for all the insanity associated with Slingsby Brothers Inc. and my David Wright collection. So she's never met him in person, but this might be the chance. She might tip his table over when she meets him.
You'll be mortgaging your house any day now.
That's what I had to do to get the art. That's the problem.
That's exactly.
Oh man, well, I've never heard Jeff get in trouble like that, but I can see it. I mean, because he's probably the most passionate strip collector that I know, and has the best eye. I mean, man, he's got an amazing collection. So who better to kind of foster that drive in you to kind of move through this than him. Yeah, you guys should have a panel of your own, to talk about the projects and things. I mean, I don't know. We haven't really talked too much about stuff like that, but anyway, I digress. So I'm looking forward to having you both there. I think we don't really. Do we have any other publishers there? Really? Not really. Jimmy and Amanda have their own publishing company, Paper Films. So we don't have any other publishers slated yet. Scott Doonbeer may end up coming out. I haven't confirmed it yet, but so I guess that would mean we have an IDW rep there. I mean, it would be fun if he could make it out. So
yeah, absolutely.
But again, I cannot stress enough how much I appreciate having you both be a part of the first show. It's really it's an honor to have you there, and I know that the show is gonna be better for having both of you there. It really is.
Kind, Bill. We really appreciate it. I know we're really excited about it. Really excited about it.
We really are, and I'm happy to answer all of your pre-1950 questions for anyone who has.
Oh dear.
I'm looking for something. I'll have to email you after the show is over. I mean, there's actually one piece of art from one one character I'd like to get something from at some point. So you would be the one to ask, but I'll do that after the show. Because every time I talk about anything I like, the price goes up on it afterwards. I was like, I'd look at stuff on the Heritage Weekly auctions that I feature, and I'd be like, I got to get something by that creator. And every single time I did that, 3 or 4 times, the pieces just kept going up. And I'd be like, all right, I know it should be $1,200. And then the bidding would go to $1,500. And I'm like, I'm not talking about anything I like anymore until I have one.
Yeah.
I've learned my lesson.
You're not part of the how much can we get Bill to pay chat group.
No, I'm not. But I just had this feeling it was out there. But it's good to know that you're the you're on it. You may not be the chairman of that group, but
you're not the chair.
It's a secret. Can't talk about it. So.
I get it. But yeah. So anything that I can do to help you guys in the lead up to the show, please let me know. I mean, we want to do as much PR for everybody that's exhibiting, because that's something that most other shows can't do, right? Spending this kind of time. So if there's anything else that we can do, including in a mailing or whatnot, I mean, I'm Chris, certainly before the deadline hits, I'd love to send out a mailing for you. And Michael, after the Kickstarter launches, I'd love to be able to, get an email out there to help promote that as well. So don't be shy. I want to help out. You guys are supporting us, and I want to support you both as well.
Appreciate that, Bill. Really do, and you always have been that way. I can't express enough the appreciation that we have at Slingsby Brothers about the support that you've been to us. So thank you for that.
I appreciate it, guys. Well, you enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you for coming on with me. And Chris, I'll see you again in a few weeks. Close to a month from now, but still, it'll be in early November. I think we're going to be doing a Sunday show, and Brian might join us. Maybe
might get him.
That would be interesting. So, all right, gentlemen, have a wonderful night. Thanks for hanging out with me.
You too. Thanks, Bill. See you, Michael.
See you, Chris.
All right. So, see, 2 new guests we're going to have at the show. I can't wait to do it and get to hang out with them, see what they bring. And, I don't really like that thing hanging back there anymore. I'm going to take that down. That was just for Anthony's show. And I botched that whole intro on the show when I did that. I would imagine everybody knew that I wanted to be dancing on screen when that thing started, and I had clicked myself to be on the show and totally screwed it up, and I wasn't on the show when it happened. So, so there you go. I'm sorry, I didn't even really get to read the chat too often. I saw comments about Team Oreo, and I've got my market data at my disposal. Yeah, you got that right, Marcus, and I don't use it. I know it's more I don't know where to find a few things. I saw Chris Norick asked who's selling the beer and the cigars at OAX. I think Kazra might have answered that. Maybe it's a Wolvie fan. That would make sense, more than likely. I saw Josh offer that he can bring some cigars. I've actually never smoked a cigar, so I wouldn't know how. But I'll watch you guys smoke them. And I don't want Maureen to see me smoke one, so we won't do that. So I got a lot of other things to go through here, and so I should probably, I guess, start plowing through it. I didn't even tell Chris like when I wanted him to pop in here because I've got so many little things to do here. But a couple things I did get. I got some photographs from New York Comic Con setup that it came in from Anthony. And I also had Mark Hay send me a couple photographs of some of his guys set up, getting started at the beginning of the day. And so I kind of just threw those together in a little clip just for your enjoyment, viewing pleasure. I asked a lot of guys to send me photographs, and I didn't get anything from the majority of the people. But you know how the first day of New York Comic Con is and setup is, and I don't blame them. I mean, it's too dang busy over there. But here's about 1 minute worth of photographs that came out of New York Comic Con, partially yesterday and mostly today. I only hope there's going to be more next week. That wasn't a promise. That's we'll see if anybody sends me anything. But that was Mark Hager in the Dueling Dealers shirt there at the beginning. And for those of you who saw the names on the table, one of the artists at Mark's Hayes setup was German Peralta. So that was cool. Now I have to tell you, I did want to start the mystery sketches for Comic Art Live tonight. I'm going to start them tomorrow. I just had too many videos to edit and too much stuff going on. I was not able to pull that together. So I'll be sending out an email probably by noon tomorrow with the links for doing the mystery sketch. Prices are the same as they were last time. All the usual stuff. I can tell you that we've got a new rep who is participating this time, but I don't have all the lists of the artists from most people, unfortunately. So I'll be starting it off without all of that ironed out. But we should have a couple artists that are on the side. Dan Brereton is definitely going to be doing it again, and another artist that I have engaged in art sales, of course, over the last few months might be as well. So I'm hoping to have 2 or 3, maybe 4 artists, solo, not repped under that banner, doing work for the mystery sketches as well. But the mailing will go out tomorrow. Definitely by this time next week, I should know all the artist names that are participating. But as always, it's always a good list. And mystery sketch has become a something we all look forward to. And it's always interesting to see who gets what. And we've been kicking around some ideas now that I have a new CEO about how to spice it up a little bit. I think the May show might have a few wrinkles into it that you're not going to see this time around, but May could be pretty interesting, and I think will make the mystery even more exciting. Yeah, Jeff Wedding says mystery Mannix. Yes, any Mannix. Yes, always. There's always some Mannix in the mystery sketches. You have to count on him. Let's see. Mr. Reject said he tried to shoot some video at New York, but wasn't able to. But if you got anything you want to send me, obviously you can email it to me. If you got any good things. Same thing with Jason. I'm sure Jason was too busy buying artwork today, and he didn't take any photos while he was on the floor. For shame, Jason. You know, I always count you as my my man on the ground, supposed to be documenting everything, and you let me down today. But at least you got some good art out of it. Now, a couple other clips and things we got going on here. Man, where to go to first? You know what? This is one I think everybody's curious about. Marcus did do an unboxing. Now, he was not going to come on here live and do it with all of us, but he did record the unboxing of that package that we teased last week. As you know, Marcus had a commission that was ongoing for almost 10 years with, or maybe it was over. I don't know. It was just under 10 years with Kelly Jones. And, you know, there numerous people tried to help kind of facilitate it, get it done over the years. I helped at tried to help at one point, tried to get it, solicit help here or there. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, these things, sometimes they take a little bit of time, a little bit of seasoning. It had to ripen and get to where it was at. And who knows what finally brought that home. But it has finally arrived with Marcus, you know, a week ago, and he did an unboxing and recorded it all. And you know, here you're thinking he's only going to get one piece. He actually got a few other ones, and maybe that's what kind of got this thing moving along. Who knows? He doesn't say. But here is the unboxing video as Marcus filmed it for us.
Hi, I'm here to celebrate Transformers #1 Day. So I got this today from Felix. It's a Cliff Chang variant. But the real reason I'm here is for a special unboxing from a special artist commission. This is from Kelly Jones, a noted Batman artist from the 90s and probably still today. And I'd like to thank Kelly for sending this out. I'd like to thank Albert, John. I'd like to thank Bill Cox, John Suntress, and Kelvin Mao for trying to help. And everyone else who's heard the story and I would like to help them and thank them too. So let's get started. Here they are. Neatly wrapped. So let's see, the first piece. A little tape on there too. See it before I see it. Got a Batman head, probably from Red Rain. With that bone structure on the coming out the back. Second piece, nice full-size Batman. And third piece. Another nice one with a Batman cape. And the last one. Very nice, right? All right. I'd like to thank everybody for watching. I'd like to thank everybody for their support. Thank you, Kelly. And I'd like to thank my special unboxing cameraman who wishes to remain anonymous. All right. Bye, everybody.
Not bad, Marcus. Not bad. I actually put a little thing on the front of there. Clearly, I botched that, but I'll fix that before I post it for everybody to see. But hey, great pieces of art that you got. I'm glad you know, it got done. Solid exclamation points, says Chris Norick. So, and like Tim Guerrero just said, not one, not two, not three, but 4 pieces of art in that haul. I mean, well done, Marcus. Congrats on that. And you know, I think you know what, you brought your sense of humor to the whole situation, which made it a little easier, probably for you to get through it. And but we were all always rooting for you, so very happy that you got it in there. And like Dino just said, quite a haul. Wowza, says George Hodge. And now that I see Dino here, I actually had one photograph to show everybody from New York Comic Con as well that Dino sent me from last night. That they had a lot of art collectors got together. And where was that slide? I made a slide for that. Here we go. So look at that. Look at this group. Top-notch art collectors there. I think many people will recognize, I see Dan Tancredi in the back. You see Mr. Poddick. I see Joseph Melchior. Who else is in there? Darren's in there. Dino's in there. I mean, you got Sideshow Bob, Zadok. I mean, this is a crew here. This is comic art collecting royalty all at one table. So, I would have liked to have gone. Had I been there, I think I would have weaseled my way into this one. They would have had to put an extra table on the end, but I would have loved to have been there. So it looks like a great time. And Dino, so thank you for sharing this photo with me, because this is awesome. I've heard of this restaurant. That this is like one of the places that a few of the art collectors like to go to. So it looks like you had a great time, and very envious indeed for not being able to be there with everybody. But thank you, Dino. And so Jason, Jason says Dino avoided him today. Joe, yep, Joe was there. Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I should just ran around the table and named all the names. There were a couple people in the photo I wasn't sure about. The muscular guy that was standing behind Poddick. I know I've seen him before. I could not remember his name. I'm bad with names like that. But thank you, Dino, for sharing that. Appreciate it. Now, Marcus, he did that video this week, but the week before he actually went to that Trad Moore signing that happened in Berkeley, California. And I didn't have the time to pull all that together. So I did get that done for this time around. As you know, I think, I don't know if did Trad hit a couple stores that day, or was it only the one in, I don't recall. Marcus will remind us in the chat what the extent of Trad's signing was. But as I think when Marcus did the Danny Warren Johnson signing, he went to the same store. So Marcus is awesome. He shot some video, took some photos, and he brought the crotch goblin, the little one, the recreation that Sharon did with him, like he always does. And you get to see all that here. And let me get this thing rolling for you.
Yeah, that's
yeah, I love this. I'm just like, where the hell would I put it? When I want it? And they got a dog that wants to like chase the car, but like, why? When you get to the car, like, that's creepy.
You know those reading podiums they have that's really nice libraries? Yeah. For huge books that you just put on there and you can just like, see, that's one thing.
We got some books up for sale here. We got the table set up. Right.
I'm a little late, I'm sorry. This guy. What's up? How's it going?
Do I want this side?
Sure, I'll go that. I don't know.
Been here long? You guys?
I'll take that.
When did you guys get here?
I think that's the one. I remember going to the San Diego Zoo, but as a person who can think, this is my first time in California. So yeah, it's been great. Let's get it going. I'm ready to sign some stuff. We got a ticket system. Oh, a ticket system. Heck yeah. All right. Number one.
You really want to rush the table, you know?
Yeah, no, that's cool. We got a silver. We're ready. I never come prepared, but when you come to a place and they got the silver already, I'm happy about it. And if you want this, would you like this made out to you or just
to Jason?
Okay, and that's spelled like
J-A-S-O-N.
There it is. When your name's Trad, you gotta ask. You never know when someone's gonna throw a curveball at you.
Is that Jason's copy? Or is
Yeah, it's his copy.
All right.
And then I got the FB sign for Jiggy.
Actually,
Yeah,
wait, who'd you say that was for?
Jiggy, Jiggy.
I feel like I might have met him.
We talked about Jiggy.
I've met him. Maybe I have been to California before. Oh my gosh. I think I did. I think I did some other stuff. Yeah, I think it was this life. Oh my gosh, I just forgot about it. Because, yeah, no, I remember. I think I did a sketch.
Oh, yeah?
I think I did. I can't remember. You'll have to ask me. I did a sketch.
No. You a fan of Mannix?
Huh?
Are you a fan of Mannix?
I do like Venice.
Okay, let me give you something later.
Venice is a nice pet.
Let me give you something next.
Go. Awesome.
Same thing here.
Yep.
Same guy.
To Jiggy as well. Very cool.
Some extra pens if you want more.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm gonna be these silvers.
Oh,
They don't
yeah.
last.
No, they
Like, you know, they disappear pretty quickly.
Thank you.
There we go.
We could have done that first.
Oh my goodness, am I on camera? Oh, you got my cool.
You got your profile,
on
sir.
there. Okay, very cool. Oh gosh. Now I have to think about what I sound like.
New World and Doctor Strange for my backpack. Yeah.
Thank you. For my wife, too, Robin.
Okay.
Decided to look at it.
Awesome. I'm on the same page as
Yeah, I
DWJ.
with the gap, so I figured.
Living the dream. Awesome, thank you. I gotta get a quick sketch like that.
You gotta get it down, yeah.
I'm not.
You can practice here.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say, I'm not fast at anything. It doesn't matter what it is. Walking, talking, slow.
No big deal. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Oh, I already marked on myself. I almost got the year wrong. You're number one. I can make
Thanks
my
a lot.
mistakes
All
on
right.
your.
Yeah,
Thank
good to meet
you.
Take care of yourself.
Nice to meet you.
Okay.
Oh man, now make mine Mannix. I saw that you altered Albert's buttons, Marcus. You are going to get in trouble for that. I'm not going to be the one to tell him, but I guarantee you somebody's going to have a talk with Albert in the next 24 hours about that. But you know, I know I put like music to that. Somehow it ended up not. I probably muted it before I pressed the actual compile on that. So you can see, music helps. It does help kind of keep things flowing, even if it's a little light and soft in the background. But way of the way, says Khalil. Nice to have you here, Khalil. So yeah, so that was cool. Like, nice to see Trad. And I saw that Marcus confirmed that there were a couple other stores in that trip, one that day and I guess two the next day. I thought it was like a list of places he was going. So cool. You know, I obviously it's always cool to have Felix taking some of his guys around when he can. I know that they're very busy at New York Comic Con this weekend. So I saw they had the very long list of signing schedules going on. So I'm quite sure that that they are overwhelmed in Artist Alley this weekend. So so with that, I mean, I've got, like I say, I've got a ton of other stuff to go through. But let me see here. What's the best thing for me to hit next? I could talk about the schedule, but you might as well. Let's get that out of the way. I've got Scott Collins on the show on Saturday. And what else have I added in there? I've got Sean Gordon Murphy on Monday. The sales show. I got Rick Vervanis, well-known Captain America collector, who will be with me on Tuesday. That should be a lot of fun. John Moore. I've got a make-offer show with Berkey. Did I add anything here? I don't think I have. I think the thing that I've been adding stuff to, and I didn't update this, is on the 11th and 12th, which is, of course, the next Comic Art Live show. I think I have another 3 panels already figured out. And most of them involve some level of art sales too. So I think this next Comic Art Live, we're going to see more panels that are part interview, part sale opportunities. So that's going to be a little, I think every show that we've done, we've maybe added another, panel that has art sales in it. Maybe last show, we maybe had 4 So I think we might have 5 or 6 this time around. And always, it's not like we're selling 30 pieces when we do those. You don't have a lot of time to sell artwork in a 45 to 55-minute panel. So you can expect probably like 6 to 8 pieces coming in for sale during those panels during Comic Art Live. So look forward to that. And I know a lot of people have put the Fred Hembeck art sale on their calendars. That's at 2 p.m. on the 18th of November. So I've heard back, Jim McLaughlin helped me line that to show up with Fred, and he's actually been emailing with Jim, just getting some information down, trying to plan out what he wants to bring. I still don't think he's going to bring a ton. I think it might be limited to, I don't know. Let's hope he hits 8. I think if we can get 8 pieces out of Fred for that first show, and like I think I mentioned to everybody, they're going to all be at auction. We'll just have a starting price on it, and you guys will get the bid on everything, just like on eBay. But I think that Fred's comfort zone is definitely on the auctions, and it's all attributed to many of you in the Fred Hembeck group out there that has helped propel him into this wonderful stratosphere of popularity, which he deserves. He really does. I've always loved Fred's stuff, and I actually do. I have some sketch cards that were gifts, but I have a couple pieces that I've picked up from him over the years as well too. I saw him at a Columbus show probably a dozen years ago, so I'm looking forward to hanging out with him, and getting to go through the Fred Hembeck experience like all of you. It will be fun. Oh man. All right. Next up, what do we got? I got a page I love from Kevin Sharp that I can play for you. This time it is from Sean Crystal. Sean has picked a piece of Brian Stelfreeze artwork that was inspiring to him. I think he kind of apprenticed a bit under Stelfreeze, and the book that this came from, I think, predates his time working with Brian by a few months. So it was something that obviously, I remember when the book came out, there was a lot of different Batman stories in this particular book, but Brian's stuff always stands out when he does his line work. And definitely, he's not you see his technique today, right? There's not a lot of, unless he's coloring something, there's not a lot of midtones when he does a commission piece or something. It's very stark, and I think that comes across in the piece here that Sean is going to talk about. So let me go ahead and play this one. And again, thank you, Kevin Sharp, for continuing to put these together. I should put a number on all these because I have no idea how many we've presented so far, but it's got to at least be a dozen. These have been a lot of fun. The artists enjoy them. I think what you're going to see in here, and did I link it in the show description? I don't think I did. I put it in the mailing today. I'll make sure I put it in the show description. Sean does a podcast, and it's one of those podcasts that he streams on YouTube as well. And I would highly encourage everybody to sign up and subscribe to his channel so you don't miss out on those. He does a lot of shows with Eric Canetti, who is they're both repped by Jason at Essential Sequential, I believe, and he does a show with a few other people as well. So maybe while this is playing, I will update the show description to include the link over to his YouTube channel so you can go over to it and subscribe. So yes, see, Chris just shouted it. Oh, and so did George. He said Canetti, Scalera, and Mafood. Come on. That's a great lineup of artists to see. So you guys are probably already subscribed to his channel, but I'm going to dig up the link while this thing is playing, and I will get it in the show description. And I would encourage everybody else to go over there and subscribe as well. So here we go.
Hi, it's Kevin Sharp, and today I'm joined by artist Sean Crystal to talk about a page by the great Brian Stelfreeze. Sean, welcome to Comic Art Live.
Thanks for having me.
And tell us what you chose here and how you came up with this pick out of all the pages that you could consider for the prompt.
It's a good question because when you asked me, my mind went to some of the most classic comics or some of my favorite full story comics. But we were just talking about, you and I off podcast, about my Como trip. Brian was with my crew, and Brian mentored me for a while and taught me a lot. Most of my storytelling knowledge comes from Brian. And so Batman Black and White, which this is from Volume 1, is to me the most thorough text or academic study of this medium of comic books. Every story is drawn by an absolute master of comic book design and storytelling, and stripping it of color and forcing the artist to use black and white design and shapes. It's just everything's a lesson in there. So I always go to that. So I cracked it open, going to my favorite story in there, which was Kevin Nolan's story. But the book fell open to the Brian Stelfreeze story. And that made me think about what we're doing here, why we're doing it. And so I chose this page because this page alone exemplifies the power of great comic book storytelling. I mean, if we just look at the big splash panel and the panel after it of Batman leaping towards the gun and the panel below of Batman's father being shot, Stelfreeze brilliantly summed up an entire origin story in 2 panels. By echoing the same body language and same composition, he has given the reader so much information. It's just a beautiful example of comic book storytelling. And Brian's also a master of black and white design, so we'll get into that.
When you would you have encountered this story and this series when it was first coming out, Batman Black and White?
I did, yeah. I have the individual issues somewhere, but the hardcover collection, I bought 2 of them because one is still in shrink wrap. First off, it's one of the most beautiful designed books DC's ever put out. I mean, Chiarello was obviously heavily involved in the design of the book, but it's the greatest collection in the greatest package. So I bought one, and I was in school at the time getting my master's degree in comics, and it became such a source of study for me. I was like, I'm gonna wear this thing out, and I knew they would be gone. And Bud Plant I don't even know if Bud Plant's still around, was selling them so inexpensively. I just grabbed another one. I still haven't opened it, but yeah.
So at this time, was this were you reading this pre your Stelfreeze mentorship, or was this after you knew him?
This is around the time this came out before I knew him. I met him shortly after, and in sitting with him and him breaking out his thumbnails in front of me and breaking everything down, every choice he made, I saw this in his thumbnails. I went back and revisited it, and it was just, I mean, like just looking at it now, I can hear Brian talking. The way that shape in the cape frames the gun and leads your eye right to the face of Batman. It's just the power of great design work. So yeah, this came out before I knew Brian, but after I knew Brian, I dove deeper into the study of it.
So as we're talking, the viewers will now be seeing the page as we go, and you've kind of called out the shapes and the storytelling. Could you talk a little about the art technique that you see on the page that you really respond to?
Yeah, so what got me about Brian here was in Brian's comic book language, everything is black or white. There's very little allusion to gray. There's very little what I've always called when I taught as optical grays. They're not true grays, but if you think of cross-hatching and feathering, they give the illusion of black fading to white. Brian chooses to go pure black, pure white, with very little in between. And so it's a study in graphic design, graphic shape, and graphic language, which in studying comics, if you read like Scott McCloud's text, you become very aware that your drawings are a language, much like a typeface is, like in a novel. So I think Brian approaching his comics this way is really quite brilliant. The transition on the bottom, I'm almost positive. Actually, I can guarantee you that was not in the script. That is Brian's storytelling. To choose to echo back with imagery that way, I would have thought, like, how can I do that? But I don't know if I don't know if that's the direction I would have gone in. That's really brilliant what he did.
So because we're on Comic Art Live, let me put the question to you. Do you own any Stelfreeze original art?
I do. I have a few pieces. The first piece I got from Brian was I was graduating from my master's degree program at SCAD, and my wife, knowing I had been spending a lot of time with Brian, and Brian had mentored me, privately emailed Brian and asked if she could buy a piece of art from him to give to me. And Brian so generously wrote her back and said, absolutely, but I will not take your money. Consider this as a return in your investment on Sean, which was just about the sweetest thing ever. So that was a watercolor he did of an ex-girlfriend, like a portrait. It was two portraits, a profile and a 3/4 view. So that's hanging in my kitchen still. And when the most recent Art of Spider-Verse book came out, Brian did a lot of work on that movie concept-wise. And my kids are freaking out. I got them each a copy because the movie just affected them so dramatically in their own art. And so I bought them downstairs, cracked open the book, and put it underneath Brian's painting. And they were like, what? So I have that. And then when we were in Como, I fell asleep in the car ride from Parma to Como. I didn't know my art dealer, Jason, took a picture of me, sent it to Brian. So Brian did a cartoon drawing of me sleeping. That's so fucking beautiful. He gave it to me. So I have that. And then I have a few thumbnails he's given me over the years. And yeah, I've got some Brian stuff.
But not this page, correct?
No, dude. I don't know who owns this Batman black and white stuff. These are gold bars.
Yeah. Well, now the word's out. If anybody watching this has a lead on this page, you know who's interested. Sean, thank you so much for joining us and talking through this beautiful piece of work.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Well done, Mr. Sharp. Thank you for doing that, as always. And like I say, I think there's at least 4 or 5 other ones in the can. So we'll get more of those out there hopefully on a regular basis going forward. So what was going on there? I went and grabbed another Zevia while this was going on, so I wasn't paying attention to the chat. But let's see, what did Khalil mention? Talk to artists over the years. So many have said they've learned a lot by looking at Brian's stuff and by talking with him. Artists. That's definitely for sure. I've heard the same thing, Khalil. Let's see here. What have I got for you? I've got I got a few other things to go over, but I think that's probably the main gist of our show so far tonight. Yeah, I think I can get into the CAF update now that I've got all the videos played. Yes, indeed I do. So for those of you who didn't know, Nick Barucci is at New York Comic Con this week. That's why we're not seeing him in the chat. That's why we have a bit of a lighter show than usual. We're at 56 people watching the show right now. So there is no EXP tomorrow, but I do have my Heritage picks to go through. And there was a few pieces that were pretty decent in there. Let me go ahead and share the screen here, and I'll show those off. I don't know if Snork's here. Snork, you can join whenever you like. Oh, see, I say it, and then the man appears in the green room. It's like magic. Here, let me at least get this shared thing right, and then I can bring Mr. Snork in there. Hey, Chris, how are you doing, man?
I'm good. You said update, and I was like, there it is.
I'm sorry. Did I say update? I meant to say a page I love. I don't know. I'm a little messed up tonight. I think on a few levels. Just a busy day. Very, very busy day. But all good. It was fun talking. I've emailed with Chris Kalaki a lot, and not just when doing the current project, just over the years that he's been on CAF, so many times. It's just funny. I'd never gotten the opportunity to meet him, until then.
It's been a while.
Yeah. So hopefully I can get him on for an interview. I think that'd be pretty cool. But we're going to do a show with Roger Clark and hopefully Brian Bolland as well. So we'll see. That's the plan, because Brian did the cover to this new book that they're working on, and he's a big fan of the strip, and so we were going to do like an hour-long show just to kind of talk about the project, and again, it'd just be cool to hear Brian talk about why he loves it. I mean, I'll just sit back and watch the three of those guys talk.
I'd listen to his insights on the phone book.
Yes, exactly. That's very true. Let's see. What does Khalil say? Chris reminds me to give new beers a try. Not quite there on the cigar front yet.
We'll fix that, Khalil. You come to OAX, I'll get you hooked.
Yeah, I have. I haven't. I've never smoked a cigar. I wouldn't know the first thing about doing it. So
we could fix that too, Bill.
But I was looking around. I was trying to find a beer place when I was out driving today, and there's just nothing down here in Florida.
So there's this awesome brewery called Horace that are based out of California, and Disney World actually has an exclusive Horus Stout at one of those restaurants. So that's something I mean to try when I'm out there.
Really, a Horus Stout.
Horus aged ales, yeah.
And must be in Epcot, I assume, with all the food there.
I don't know. I got to do a little more research. I just know that it exists. I think it's called Happy Hawk. Happy
Hawk. I have not heard of that. Well, I'll be happy to join you if we can make that work out. Oh! Now, I'm glad you showed me that drinking glass. I've got something special for you. only Kazra knows about this one. This will be the secret last pick of the day. I totally forgot about that. Hang on, I gotta set this up before we look at the artwork tonight. Sorry. No, there it is. It's so amazing. When I saw this piece, I immediately sent a pic of it to Kazra, and he said, "We're going to start up a GoFundMe so that Chris Knorr can get this artwork."
All right. I'm not too proud to accept art charity.
Okay. All right. Well, this one, we'll see. We'll see how you feel about this. But all right, here we go. Here are my heritage picks for the night. They were talking about Carmen Infantino earlier, and I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of Carmen's work later in life, but I look at this stuff, and I mean, this is gorgeous. I mean, it's Joe Giella inks. Maybe that helps a little bit. I mean, it makes, because this is different. You remember how Carmen's later work is
it's very square.
It's very right. It's very you think about it. You're right. It's very square because he liked. I mean, his action was kind of like that. He just drew things in that manner, and it just never really worked for me. But look at this. This is a great page, and Giella's inks probably have a little bit to do with that. But it is kind of a 2/3 page. I mean, who knows? There's probably an ad or something underneath it. There was actually another flash page, I think, from the same story in the current auction. And it wasn't, it was a full page, not like this. This thing's already at 310. So, I mean, classic Flash by Infantino. Barucci's going to be bidding on this one.
Flash is in 3 out of 4 panels.
Exactly, definitely. And
he's in the second one too. He's just moving too fast.
More than likely, right? He can't see him. He's spinning around. This guy's got his collar up, so he doesn't realize it's not the 1980s yet.
It's DC in the 60s. Everybody had their collar up.
See, I wasn't reading it at that point, but so there you go. Nice Infantino Flash page there. Then Frank Thorne piece. I've talked about that. I'd love to get something Frank Thorne, Red Sonja. And this would be a good example. I mean, it's from
especially.
It's from Marvel Feature 3, and it's all Frank. Really nice. I mean, you could see the influence probably that Joe Kubert probably had on him a little bit. I mean, but this is just the costume on this character. I love his inking on that. And then again, you get a full figure Red Sonja. You got the close up. And it's just beautiful, really nice. And this one's at 310 as well. 310s are wild in the first 2 pieces. Next piece, this is a title page. Ron Friend's Al Milgrom on the Thor. No Thor, but doesn't matter. Look, this is freaking awesome. I love this. Love the lighting.
Ulick is awesome. That's a great, I don't know, B-level Thor villain in my mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I mean, I love this thing. Whosoever holds the hand. I mean, it's as a title page. I mean, just looking at it, it's gorgeous. I love with the lettering up top. I mean, everything. This is just I'm going to probably end up putting a bid on this. I won't get it, but I'm gonna drive up the price a little bit early just to get.
You love a good title page.
I do, and the thing is, I don't own many, unfortunately.
You could specialize.
I'd like to, but they are splashes, so they are kind of on the pricier side of things. Rich Danny's, hey Rich, how's it going, man? Rich, that's fantastic. Agreed. I mean, look at that thing. That's really, really sweet. And I like Milgram's inks. And then Friends on Thor, anything. I mean, that's a winner right there. Jason said that Berkey was telling stories about me today. I can only imagine the stories being
probably
told.
Got the dirt too.
Yeah, he does.
Too many meads.
Unfortunately, yes, he does. Let's see. I have that in the second window on that one. Here we go. Better. there is a bunch of, and where's the Wildstorm art collector in the chat? I don't know if I saw their name tonight or not, but these are Wildstorm, Sergio Aragone's Gru trading card art pieces, and I think there's like 4 in there. And I'm assuming we got a mummy here, so it's Halloween, it's October, so I chose to pick this one versus the other ones, but I thought this was really nice. ML says the Carol Day strip from last week only went for 1,500. Maybe there must be like a big variance in the Carol Day strips, because I've seen some of them go for like 4,500 to 5,000. So
yeah,
it only went for 1,500.
More than that.
Yeah, so 1,500. That's a great price for that strip. If I would have known it was going to go that low, I might have tried for it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so if you like trading card art, I mean, I don't think I've ever seen Gru trading card art before, but yeah, there's several pieces in this auction. Then Ross Andrew, I mean, who doesn't love Ross Andrew, right? This is an unexpected 147 page. I love the storytelling going on in here. I love these heavy outlined panels that are all wavy. I mean, everything about this piece is really nice. It's Tony DeZuniga inks on this one.
Wow.
Again, just a nice piece. I love really, actually, other than the first panel, which is not telling any kind of a backstory. I mean, I love all 5 the 2 through 6 panels here. They're just really nice. Well done.
Nice.
Oh, I guess Mikhail's signing off. Good evening, Mikhail. Next piece. I just like the page layout on this one. Eduardo Barreto. This is a futuristic two-gun kid.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I love this. This is, I mean, page layout's great. I love the rendering on the characters. I mean, this would make Steve Epting proud. I mean, it's just really well done. Butch Geist. I mean, I don't know. I look at this and I would never think Barreto on it. But
I think this like reeks of Barreto, actually. Like,
really?
At least to me.
You are the connoisseur. So okay. But for me, it was just the panel layout. I love that first panel with him riding that thing, and it's crossing over in the other panels there, and just the whole angle of that same panel. I think it's great. I love it.
There's a fun flow to the page too.
Yes. Let's see here. What am I missing? Kyle's chatting in there, but yes, I like the page. Definitely like the page a lot. Oh, Jason sent me a photograph. In Facebook, everybody. Here we go. Next up, a Pat Broderick Barreto Swamp Thing Annual 4 page, and I love Broderick's work, during this period, and Barreto's inks on this piece are really nice.
Very nice.
Look at that. I mean, this.
Oh wow!
Isn't that great?
Swamp Thing face at the on the bottom
I
left.
know. This, I didn't read a lot of Swamp Thing, so I'm not too up on the lore of all that, but love this page, love this one a lot. And then this one I was going to skip it, and then I'm like, you know what? I love David Peterson, so this was a program to a cover to the London Super Comic Con, which is it ran from like 2011 to 2017 or something like that. A guy who I got to know pretty well while he was running it. It was communicated with him a lot. We actually emailed recently. He's a really nice guy, and then to see this as a piece that is out here that was a cover guide to that. They tried making it very much a kind of an artist centric show. I think, wow. And that's why I actually started talking with him again, because he's coming out to OAX from across the pond. But yeah, really nice piece here by David. I mean, how often is it you're going to get a David Peterson unicorn?
His stuff is so intricate. It's just like, it's baffling. The line weights and yeah, wow.
Yeah, I like this one a lot. So where is that? That's only at $230. I think that one's going to go a little higher than that. And then I picked 2 kind of commission-y con sketch type things. You get a Scalera Wolverine.
Very cool.
Man,
it's got a lot of energy.
Yeah, we all love Scalera stuff. And and again, I don't know what his convention sketch rates are, but if you're an X fan, a Wolverine fan, here's your chance to get a Scalera on Wolverine. and then a Stegman Spidey, which I think Stegman always does a pretty decent job on the rendering here. This is nice. I'm sure it was done at a show. It's only at $23 right now, so
it's well worth that.
Heck yeah. Yeah, definitely. Exactly. So there you go. Ending it on that. Now, this next piece. Okay, this I don't know. Is Casper still here? I hope he's still here, because it wouldn't be the same if he wasn't watching. But it's okay. So I'm going through my picks, and I see that this image is a thumbnail, and I'm like, what in the hell is going on in that image? And why isn't it maybe like censored by Heritage?
Oh,
it just something looks wrong on it. But here, I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to show it to the world. Here it is.
Oh, I saw this today. I thought the same exact thing.
What is going on in here? It's it's the Thing. It's Johnny.
It appears they're engaging in some act.
Yeah, I don't know is he screaming it's clobbering time there? I have no idea what he's doing, but this is a cover, right?
I know.
Or it's a splash page. Okay, it's a splash page. Thank God it wasn't on a cover. It would have tainted the minds of children all across America. But yeah, what was it? I think that they stated, what did they say in here? What a revolting development this is. Okay, yeah, that's exactly what the Thing should be saying. I mean, look at this.
Also,
come on.
Look at the placement of Johnny's glutes.
Exactly.
In relation to the Thing's trunks.
How did this get past editorial? I mean,
man,
unbelievable. This one needs to be bought and tucked away and never seen again. And no offense to Rob. I mean, sometimes you draw stuff and you don't think about the suggestive nature of some of the things you draw. But boy, oh boy.
So I'll be honest. I'm not a Liefeld fan, but I saw this, and at first I just saw I think I saw a thumbnail, so I just saw the a chunk of the Thing basically, and I was like, that's not a bad thing, for Rob. I was like, oh, and then I clicked it, and I was like, oh my God.
So did I. I was definitely taken by this. I was like, oh my God, this is the strangest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Rich Danny's stand-up missionary. Yeah. Good Lord, Wallpower, man, everybody. Yeah, it's like you can't and it's published, folks.
Yeah, thank you, Tariq. The Thing does not want this. Something is, yeah.
Yeah, the Thing is not happy about it, but Johnny, he's all into it. Anyway, there you go. I think I've scarred everybody enough with this piece. Let me remove it. But yeah, that's something there, man. That is something. So there you go. There you have my my Heritage picks for the week. But Flame on Fantastic Foreplay. Oh my God. Oh, you guys are wonderful.
It's 10 o'clock. The kids are in bed.
It is. It really is. Yeah. All right, moving right along so we can get into the CAF update side of things. This was for the period of the 2nd through the 8th. And what did we have here? We had lots of good stuff going on. I think the dealers had I think the week before, $167,000 was the number. This time around, $397,000. So really good. Berkey made up a lot of that, as did Felix, but still, anytime you can go almost to 4 with the dealers these days, it's a good thing. So yeah, Johnny stormed. Yep, Johnny playing with his thing. Oh my God, you guys.
They write themselves.
It does write itself. I can't read any more of them. I'm going to get on with this. So Ramita Man, number 1 in sales out of that almost 400,000. He had 216 of that. Felix was second. He had 65 sales, 111,000. I think much of that was the Daniel Warren Johnson Star Wars book that dropped, right? Am I wrong? Or was it?
No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, because I remember
Transformers this week, right?
Now I'm confused. The art drops are happening in such a manner that I can't. I thought it was the Transformers. Either way, it was one of those big books. I remember Felix's site was hammered so much that it was like up and down because it had so many people hitting refresh on that thing as it as
Marcus said.
yeah. But it is what it is. Then Felix, or who? No, after Felix it was Anthony, 55 sales, $30,000. Then Albert Moy, 31 sales, 24,000, and then everybody else was a little bit lower. So it was Danny Warren Johnson Transformers. Sorry guys, I did have it wrong. You are right. All right. So top 6 sales from dealers last week. Let me highlight those in the little video here. All right, so here we go. So 397,000, as I already mentioned. First piece of art from the Todd Father. Should make Spidey fan happy, my board member. This is from Amazing Heroes 179, drawn 3 months before Spider-Man #1. This one sold for the asking price of $70,000 by Mike. Next up, this Marvel Saga 22 cover. This one is by Ramita Sr. with Joe Sinnott Inks. Went for the asking price of $65,000. Then we've got an awesome Sam Keith MCP cover. I think we've seen this one before, but this one went for the asking price of $60,000. Very nice piece. And then, of course, now we've got the Transformers #1 cover. Went for $15,000. Daniel Warren Johnson art, of course. And then we've got 2 other pieces from the Transformers drop. This one was page 12 from the drop, went for $10,000. And I'm sure a lot of these are going to end up on CAF. Looking forward to seeing those there. And lastly, this is the following page to that. Page 13 by Daniel Warren Johnson went for $8,000.
Beautiful.
Very, very much so. Now, is he working on 11x17? I assume. Okay, because you look at those and it's so reminiscent of manga artwork, right? Where especially when he uses the zip and just spots like it was on that guy's vest or whatever. You see that, and I immediately think it's a smaller page, right? Just because of the way he's just kind of the way he does his craft. So that's cool that it's on 11x17. All right, so what do we got there? Trying to read through the stuff. I don't know what I need to fix. All right. I need to fix this website. Yes, we've talked about that. The fix that I've offered, they don't want to do. So it's unfortunate. I'll just have to keep allocating a little more horsepower here or there. That was a big drop for everybody, obviously. As far as having that book drop, you knew there was going to be a lot of people on there. But the funny thing is that even though you get drops, I'm still, because of testing purposes, I'm blind carbon on the orders that come through, and there's not like there are people on it. You might get a disconnect because of where you just kind of fall in line with trying to refresh your screen and everything. But the orders start right at the 12 o'clock hour, and they didn't stop until like 12:13, 12:14. So it wasn't like there was a gap, 3 minutes. Oh my gosh, the whole site didn't work. No, people who were on and were able to get their session locked in were able to kind of keep with it. So I'd love to be able to fix it. I mean, you don't have that problem on CAF at all. It's just something that technologically I can't overcome without just continuing just to keep trying to allocate more horsepower, more threads for his site. All right, so let's take a look at auction results. And it was a big week because Heritage had 2 specialty auctions. They had the international auction, which almost hit $3.2 million, and then also a illustration art auction that went for $1.2 million. So between the two, we're talking $4.4 million in total. I think, what did we reach? It was just under $4.7 million for auction houses last week. eBay of that total was just 125,000, and the Heritage Weekly was at 111,000. So top 3 sales to eBay, and we got one artist in here whose name I've never seen before because it's a very early piece. But first up, we have a Gary Frank Superman Lost #6 cover. Went for $4,272. Gary Frank, part of a new comic company startup, I noticed today, along with a few other notable creators, Brian Hitch among them. Then we've got this Eric Powell Goon versus Marvel Zombies, probably a commission, I assume. I don't know if this saw publication in any way, but that one went for $3,650. And then the piece I was mentioning, Gus Mager, something called Hawshock the Detective, a Sunday strip, went for $2,202. I've never heard of Gus Mager.
Me neither.
There you go. Then a nice Kevin O'Neill 2000 AD piece went for $5,040 over on Heritage. That was their top selling piece of the week. I love that piece. Love Kevin O'Neill's work. And then we got this Ryan Brown Dark Knights Death Metal 1 variant cover, painted, of course. Lovely. Went for $4,080. And then a piece I did feature last week, this Alex Ross Wizard Millennium Edition prelim, went for $3,840. So there you got my whole auction result set there. Now, and it's funny. I look at everything that Heritage has. I don't remember seeing that Kevin O'Neill, and I don't remember seeing the Ryan Brown Dark Knights. I swear to God, it feels like to me like they sometimes like drop stuff, a day later. I just don't understand, because I feel like I would have picked that Kevin O'Neill, and I would have probably picked the Ryan Brown too, but they weren't there. I'd love it if somebody could, confirm that with me. Maybe I should ask them, because I've seen this happen too many times.
Have a direct line.
Right. I mean, well, okay, I should be able to get the answer from them. I just don't understand how sometimes pieces like those, how I don't see them, because I really, there's only 200 usually every week. It's not like it's a lot to look through, and I do look through it all. So I don't understand it. Anyway, moving right along. So we can get into our popular picks this week, which I haven't queued up. So we'll just kind of open them up one by one while we're going here, I guess. Or maybe I can song and dance for a second and queue up all of yours. Here's the thing. I mean, there was you posted a very nice piece of artwork to your calf gallery this week, didn't you?
I'm trying. Yeah, this week, maybe last week. Yeah,
or maybe it was last week. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, because I was looking at the pieces that went up there. It was last week, because I almost picked it, and I was like, I don't want people to think that we're playing favorites around here.
No, we
anything
can't
like
do that.
But for those of you who haven't visited Chris's calf gallery lately, he did add a very awesome piece by Capuccio, right? Not
there you go.
Not Cappuccino.
Correct.
See, I remember. But yeah, so go check out Chris's calf gallery, because it was actually on my short list for a while, and then I was like, all right, I'm not going to do it. I don't want to. I want to make sure we're not always leaning into the same creators, because we did have a Capuccio not too long ago.
We did.
All right, here now I can share the screen and get us on with this. Where are you? Here you are. There we go. Highlight that. And all right, so let's get this thing out of there. All right, now I'm ready. So whose calf gallery is this? Joe A. Very good. Very if you haven't been to Joe's calf gallery ever, you're missing out. Joe's definitely got a lot of good stuff in his calf. So talk about this one, Chris.
So I actually kind of saw this come together. He posted a lot of in-process photos on Instagram. This is Juan Gedian. I like so many things about this, but I think the thing I like the most about it is how he kind of stayed true to the DKR palette, as well as, obviously bringing his own kind of sensibilities to the, grim and gritty. But I think the coolest thing about this was he showed how he did the background. And if you scroll up a little bit where it like fades down into the city, he just did that with a spray bomb, like with a rattle can spray bomb, and masked everything off, and then painted everything with a rattle can. So I thought that was so cool, and like kind of a street art thing to do. And then, it also still kind of looks faithful to the original in a lot of ways. And that color palette is a big reason why.
Definitely. Yeah. And as soon as you said spray can, I thought of the, numerous times I've been to Vegas and, watching guys make,
murals on the sidewalk,
murals, or there's a guy who always paints on these 9x12s or 11x14s, and he'll basically do a space scene in about 5 minutes using spray cans and some masking device like a tin can or something like that. But yeah, no, this is awesome. I mean, a really, really great piece. I love the over exaggeration in Batman's physique. It's slick.
And that's kind of what Gedian, I think, is known for at this point, is drawing these over muscled versions of characters. Batman and DKR is, you know, kind of that way anyway, but he just takes it to the next level, which is, I think, what makes Carrie so cool, because like she's this, you know, again, like impish little figure next to him, which she always is. But to see the artist kind of like stretch in that direction was cool, because it's kind of going against type for him a little bit.
Yeah, no, I agree. Mr. Reg, Batman's fist is bigger than Robin's head. That's true.
I'll take it.
Robin is, you know, behind Batman, so yeah, that's a little bit going on there. But good hands, says Chuck Arnold. Cartooning is good, says Rich. Yeah, I agree. Very nice piece. Is there a lot of artwork by Juan on the site? I'm kind of curious.
I have a piece on there. I know there's a few.
Okay, 44. Yeah, not too bad.
There's my thing right there.
Oh, that's right.
You want to talk about big fists? That's got it in spades.
Yes, it does.
Mm-hmm.
When did you pick this thing up? In the summer.
At Heroes.
That's right. That's right. Wow. Very nice. Let's see here. Next piece. Oh, let me get over here. There we go. This is in Alberto's calf gallery. Got a nice Zek cap cover.
Yeah, man. I don't know where to start talking about Zach on Captain America. It was hugely formative for me, but I loved these issues because Cap versus Doc Ock was just kind of like why a little bit like, you know, like unexpected, kind of, you know, obviously not in his quote unquote rogues gallery, but there's so much dynamism on this page or on this cover. And, you know, he manages to make Doc Ock look menacing, which for me is a real trick because like Doc Ock is so, I don't know, goofy to me. The zip looks so good here. Yeah, I don't know. Zach is like, you know, obviously he's the Punisher guy, but to me, he's definitely a Cap guy as well. So anytime I see something like this is a special treat. And for Alberto to add this to his gallery is amazing.
Yeah, no, agreed. Alberto, you know, you'd think it's hard to kind of one up or you know, get great pieces over all the great stuff he already has. But
yeah,
I always like this piece too. And you're right. It's funny. I think when I was reading Cap, I thought, you know, Doc Ock is a villain. How's that going to work? But it did. It actually did work pretty well. So, but yeah, this is you know, I love the inking on this thing. This is just so nice.
And I think this is all Zach.
I was looking, yeah, you know, that was the one thing I wanted to see if it was all Zach or not, and it is, isn't it? Yeah. Huh.
And like Chuck points out too, like that is a little like he drops out a lot of detail on Cap, you know, or a lot of rendering on Cap, but like Doc Ock has like more rendering, like there's detail in spades on him, so that's kind of a cool like graphic effect too.
Yeah, I was curious how they colored it. Oh, this isn't the colored version. This is he owns the color guide to it too. Damn, awesome. That is awesome.
It had to happen.
Cap,
I guess.
Of course, everybody was waiting for it.
Yep.
Well, hey, it helps sell books, man. It was always good to put some. It's a good sell copy. The thing you've been waiting for. But cool, Alberto, you are the man. I don't think Alberto's with us tonight. He was with us last night. He doesn't need to be here tonight. What do we got here next up? This one even got highlighted on CAF this week. So the Batman Grendel at Wagner #1 page, just awesome. I love this page.
I think for me this is when Wagner peaked, when he did this. It was like a prestige format book. It was square bound. I think it brought Grendel to a lot of people that probably weren't aware of Grendel already, which was great because I have like a Grendel tattoo in my arm and everybody was like, what's that? You know? So for him to hit the mainstream was very cool for me at the time. This came out when I was like pretty young. And to be able to like expose people to Matt Wagner was a big kick for me at the time. So I just, you know, the rendering on the building, like he was really like firing on all 8 cylinders in this book. There's a lot of bricks. And maybe my favorite thing about this whole story was he really kept the figures on model. Like Batman was much larger than Grendel. Like Grendel's like a, you know, young, like little guy. And so to see them like fighting, to see them in the same panels was so cool because he really kept them on model and like kept you grounded in the story. And if you know the characters, it was like really special.
And yes, this is owned by Mr. Josh Flanders. I love this panel right here. I mean, just something about the way he's inked it.
The lighting in this book is so great. Yeah.
And there's just so many abstract shapes in this thing that, it's just an interesting design. I mean, you've got the window shapes here that kind of blend into the bricks. It's just a very, very interesting design. I mean, everything is just a graphic element in here. I mean, I don't know what these shapes are, but it just works so well.
Yeah. And it's like dripping in Art Deco, like everywhere you look in this book, like there's some kind of like ornate building or, like cool effect that he did on a statue or something like that. It's just a beautiful book overall. And this is, I mean, Batman's not on this page, but you couldn't get a lot more Grundle. Like this is just a great example from this book.
I agree. Congrats, Mr. Flanders. You got a winner there, and it got featured. That we don't see that too often. With Colin being on top of everything, he does a good job. Now we have this Brian Stelfreeze piece. Now this one, you stole this one from me.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. I picked it for the show graphic, and then you went and stole it right out from under me. But that's okay. That is okay because it's painted Stelfreeze. I mean, it's everything you'd want, right? I mean, I picked it just because of the palette, as I'm sure that was a big piece for you as well. See, there you go.
Like, how do you more effectively, like, in my mind, this isn't done. Like you don't do this. You don't blend the warmest, hottest possible colors into the coolest possible colors and have it look this good. But like the fact that he's able to stretch this is every color essentially, right? Mm-hmm. And it's primary colors, it's secondary colors, and like to have it look, it's not seamless, like you see what's happening, but it could be so jarring, and it's just not. And that's the way he put the composition together, because I have to imagine on some level he knew he was doing the colors before he ever laid out the design for the piece, because otherwise you don't do it this way.
Right.
And the fact that like he had this, I have to imagine anyway, I don't know Brian, I haven't talked to him about it, but the fact that like he had this like mentally mapped out before he ever like laid down a single stroke is just like, it goes back to what Sean Crystal was saying. I mean, he's brilliant. The guy's a genius.
Agreed. It was funny because I went back to this piece a couple times and was trying to figure out how not to pick it, what I mean? So you picked it anyway, and because like the color is so jarring, but the more I looked at it, the more I liked it.
Yeah.
Because at first I'm like, it's just, I didn't understand why he would go to that extreme, but it didn't matter, because the more I kept looking at it, the more I really appreciated it more and more, because I think, like you said, he had to know what he was going to be doing, because you could have done this in a very more safe way, and the piece probably would have looked just as beautiful.
You could have done it in a more graphic way too, right? Like you could have figured out how to separate these colors or these groups of characters or whatever in a graphic way, but he just like illustrates them and like kind of damn torpedoes as far as the colors are concerned. And where you really notice it is where the red goes to purple, goes to blue. Mm-hmm. And like everybody who knows anything about color theory, that like, blue and red make purple. And so he's just making the like natural leaps from primary to secondary color to, whatever. And where it's really genius is the orange into the blue at the bottom in the landscapes.
Right. That's no, I agree. I mean, it's wonderful. Khalil, so you got a winner here, another Stelfreeze masterpiece for your collection. I mean, this is I'd love to. And you said it was 19 by 28. That is huge.
That's amazing. It's like a poster on your wall, except it's original art.
Oh man, do they make Toyotas that could fit that? I don't think so.
I bet this is in a frame, or it's going to be very shortly.
It's gotta end up in a frame, that's for sure. But that's a winner, Khalil. You definitely didn't win the big lottery, I'm sure, but you did win with this piece.
Yeah.
So let's see. Next up, this is whose cap gallery was this? Oh, is this Shaheen? Shaheen just, he does keep dropping a lot of winners. It's hard to kind of not pick them. This is a cool piece. Unlike, I think, something like this we haven't really picked in the past before. And compositionally, very well balanced. But I like this piece a lot too. It was like in my running before you picked it. So
that's what I was going to say about it too, is it's so awesomely symmetrical. Like I do love symmetry and design, and this thing, I mean, the character, like the shapes and the armor and things like that lend itself to doing something like this as a composition, just because like she is very symmetrical. Her armor looks, like armor. It's, the same on one side as the other. And, he's got the, beautiful eyes in there to kind of like juxtapose against like the hard armor plates. But like the fact that he chose to do the T, like with her hand and the mega rod, like is so perfect. And I just, I mean, as a design, it doesn't get any better.
Yep. No, I agree. I love this piece. And, for Nick's stuff, I mean, I like a lot of it. Some of it I'm not as thrilled with, but I just like the change in line weights here. I mean, the fact that this is just done so, it's not very heavy. The armor done a little heavier, the heavy line right there. I mean, there's so many different things he could have done, but I just feel like he did just enough to make this piece fantastic.
It could have been boring, right?
It could have. Oh yeah. Well, you think about it. I mean, leaving she's got basically a mask on, in part, and then she puts her hand over her mouth, so you're covering that. I mean, so they're not showing a lot there, but it works really well. I like it. And put my like on that one. Did I like? Oh, see, look at this. I'm going back. I gotta like that one. Sorry about that, Khalil. Okay. Kurt Swan and Murphy Anderson from 1971. Now, aside from the fact that he's eating,
he's eating kryptonite.
He's eating kryptonite. Is that why you picked this piece?
Yeah.
Was it the humor?
I really picked it because those 3 panels across the bottom. Name me a time in comics when you've seen a better chewing scene. Look at how perfect his face is where he's chewing that kryptonite. And it, to be honest, it kind of reminded me of Matter Eater Lad a little bit, which is, a product of the same era. Yeah. But yeah, I just love Superman's face in those bottom 3 panels. It's perfect.
Well, the funny thing is I didn't read it when I first pulled it up because I didn't see this one. So I scrolled through it and I got down to the bottom 3 panels and I'm like, was this a Hostess ad? And then I scrolled back up and I'm like, what the hell is this? Because you're right. I mean, you've never seen anybody enjoy eating anything in a comic book as much as Superman's enjoying that piece of kryptonite.
Yep.
And I love that 4th panel. The rendering on Superman's face. I mean, it's so perfect. I mean, back to Kurt Swan, and then you get Murphy Anderson inks on this thing. This is a fun page. I mean, this is a page that's because who's the collector on this one? Tommy Kohlmeyer. A guy who I think collects a lot of odd stuff that it would fit in their collection is Steve Davich. He's the one who has like the Spidey mobile or the Thing mobile or whatever. He always finds like the most unusual comic scenes out there, and this has to be one of them.
There.
Yeah, definitely. Is he rubbing his tummy? He is rubbing his tummy. I didn't even notice that. Oh my gosh, this thing gets better and better the more we look at it. Oh man. So let's see, what do we got here? Oh
yeah,
Tommy,
Matt Kennedy makes a good point. Yeah, it does. That middle panel where he's chewing reminds me of seeing Giffen drawing Matter Eater Lad.
There you go. I didn't even think about that. Good point, Matt. Let's see. Kesher says Davich thinks the Stilt Man is his dad. Boy, he's a little bit more twisted than I thought, if that's the case. Next up, unfortunately, this one is not a very large scan. This thing is. I thought this is like one of the better Conan covers I've seen go up on CAF in a while. I really like.
That's exactly why I picked it. I mean, you do see Buscema Conan somewhat frequently, but it's inked by Ernie Chan, which I think makes it extra cool. And what a scene. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, Conan is wrestling this, whatever he is, giant of some kind, because if he's that much bigger than Conan, it's a big dude. But yeah, I mean, this is just such a powerful cover. And like, if you saw this on the stands, who wouldn't want to read this?
Exactly. Well, if you're a Conan fan, you're going to Barbarian Foreplay. That's gripping. Yeah, it's not like that thing in Human Torch artwork we were
No.
looking at
Well,
earlier.
if you flipped it like this, you know, if you flip the figures like this, you'd get a little bit of that action. But
I guess so. But no, I thought
luckily
this,
for us, Buscema chose otherwise.
true. And I, you know, I thought there again. I think this is a great cover. I really like the art. And you know, you're so often how often you know. Usually Conan's solving his differences with his sword. You know, these two, like you said wrestling. I mean, the idea that, I mean, I'd be like, why the hell isn't he slicing and dicing this guy? I gotta read this book. You
It
know,
also looks like it's for an audience, like it's probably a gladiatorial match of some kind. So,
Yeah.
like I said, it just like you want to know what's going on in this book.
Matt, do a high pouring power bomb. I love it. Yep. Let's see. Now let's get the like on this one. And whose cap gallery is this? Faustus Moonhausen. Okay, somebody who's been on the CAF for 14 years and is from Germany. All right.
I'll be honest, I rarely look at who owns the art, and that's maybe a failing of mine, but I just call them as I see them.
No, well, it's better to pick the art and not know. I mean, you kind of, it's, you know how it goes. You want to pick 3 pieces from the same guy during the week, but
right.
But that's you know, whoever that is, I've never been. It's strange. I don't think I've seen their name on the site before. I mean, unless they recently changed it. I mean, to have been on the site for 14 years and I've never seen that name, I don't know how that's possible. Let's see here. Edvin Vukovic, Grendel Tales, and this is in Ed Harris's CAF gallery. Let's see. You know what? When I looked at this, I like the 5th and the 6th panel. I like this, like, you know, I mean, I know it's all kind of low, but I really love the 6th one. It's just a funny angle. You know, that boot is kind of in your face. The character, there's something about the way, you know, they're telling the story in this manner. Just, I thought it was really well done.
Yeah, exactly. So I picked this for the storytelling because, you know, you're looking at the character's shoes for the majority of the page, but
yeah.
So Edvin, this is the main thing I know from him. He unfortunately died pretty young and didn't, you know, get to blow up, I think, as he deserved to do. Because if you look at this, I mean, there's, you know, clearly like there's some Rizzo here. There's some, you know, like there's influences. Actually, as far as I know, Rizzo may have been influenced by him. This is an older book, but it's just beautiful contour line drawing. The inks, like the blacks, are perfectly spotted. He's telling a story with, you know, characters' feet and a knife versus like some kind of crazy face off, which I think is such a daring choice to make storytelling wise. Yeah. And then to your point, when we do, you know, finally get to the characters, he does this cool bridge where like this guy leans down and he keeps the same shot that's in the previous panel, but he's reaching down to pick up the knife, and then he brings the action up. When the guy stands up with the knife, that's when you see their faces.
Wow, you saw far more into this than I did, but I appreciate you telling me. I mean, it's I didn't quite get it, but yeah, the way he's handling the camera work here, it's amazing. No, I love this piece. I'm loving it more now. E.C. Harris has a very good eye, as we all know.
And he posted another piece from the same book from the same artist, and this art is like hen's teeth.
Huh. Oh, I guess he's posted a few things this week, but I'll have to go back and look. He's got a Jim Steranko, Nick Fury. Man,
hey,
what the heck? That's look
good
at that.
One too.
Holy smokes, that thing is awesome! Wow. I'd like to. That is pretty dang nice.
Very cool.
Wow, E.C. Harris, you're my new hero on CAF. Okay, it's funny, you know, isn't it weird? How long has this thing been on CAF? Okay, so not too long. Like what, 2.5 years? I can't believe I've never seen that before. I love that. Jose Ortiz,
like Michael Cho. The colors almost had a Michael Cho vibe.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a little bit more tonal, I guess, but still with the color choices, yeah. Man, this thing is, I want this piece. So what does he say? It was created by Jim as a birthday gift for Stanley's birthday in 1979.
Oh wow,
that's got a good story to it too.
Cool provenance, yeah.
Holy, Bill is so fickle. How can you say that, Marcus? That's not true. Now let's see. Yeah, #1 Marvel fan wants it too. Damn right, that thing's incredible. Let's see. First, whose calf gallery looking at here? Pabble Baba.
Yeah.
Okay. And again, it's another name. I've been on the site for 12 years, and I don't think I've seen it. I bet you people must change their names every now and again. How can I see a name that has been there that long and not recognized? Yeah, you should.
Maybe I'll do that.
But yeah, I love this piece, man. I love that. This last panel is just it's phenomenal.
There's so much gorgeous art in these textbooks. Textbooks, not textbooks. But yeah, I mean, for people that can appreciate European comic book art, this is like one of the best places to go. It's this or Zagor. I don't know. Marcus can help you choose, but yeah, just how beautifully laid out that that scenery is, and like how he chose like to pop all that detail into the foreground, and like obviously the figures look so good, and like I've said this 100 times I think, but like drawing horses is hard, and so if you're going to draw a Western book, you better be damn good at drawing horses, and clearly Jose Ortiz is. And I don't know, there's just beautiful textures and like gorgeous vistas, and like the perspective is so good, and like it's a gorgeous page.
Yeah, no, it really is. I love going into the just lighter and lighter detail, going back into the horizon line. Just really, really smart piece. Yeah, I like it a lot. Zagor is default, says Marcus.
There it is.
And last but not least, and Mikhail just left us, unfortunately, but we've got a piece from his calf gallery, the amazing Miko Swayan.
I've tried to, in the last, I don't know, month or 2 months or whatever, I try to like weight the pieces, or I try to stage the pieces differently. So there's something a little more like bombastic and eye-catching at the beginning and at the end. And I can like talk more about like nerdy crap in the middle. So this is just a striking cover for so many good reasons, but obviously the like, I'm gonna say it, airbrushy look to the background with the red and the black like adds a ton of like splash, makes this like way more bombastic. Because Vader is black, stormtroopers are white and black, TIE fighters are black and like silvery white. I mean, like there isn't a lot of place to go here. And so when you pick a guy like Miko to do this, that you're relying so much on his tonal work. And like, that's definitely here, right? You can look at this and it reads as Miko Swayan almost immediately to me. But it would be nothing without that wild, kind of like in your face color choice for the background.
No, agreed. And we all know that Miko does use airbrush for that effect a lot of times. But typically we're getting a gray tone background. So his choice to do this in red is just it's wonderful. Miko's such a nice guy too. If you haven't had the opportunity to meet him, he will be at OAX. So you get a chance to that. Yeah, he's a good dude. That is for sure. Yeah, no, this is nice. So congrats to Mikhail, who has a penchant for painted pieces. So I think this is great addition to it
lately.
Yeah, that is very true. Let's see here. You can see a Miko piece a mile away. Yeah, that is true, Mr. Redjack. There's no Aquaman on it though, Marcus. You are right about that. All right.
He's there in spirit.
Yeah.
There's a little Aquaman in all of us.
Indeed. Here, let me switch over to my screen now. Let's see. Do that. Do this. Come on. They gotta make this thing easier. Shifting screens here.
You're a power user. You could probably give them some feedback.
Oh, every time I've tried to give them feedback and they never reply. There's certain things that don't work as well as I'd like them to, and a few other things. And yeah,
I
they never.
really
I hate that. I hate
this.
when you send an email to people and they don't reply.
Reply.
But
Yeah.
yep. But here you go, Duke Fleed. This piece, I was smitten by the color palette.
It's gorgeous
in many ways, but just the angle of the view of these guys making out in a car. I mean, in that purple in the car is just crazy, but it's used to, it's like
underpinned.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's a lustful color. I mean, it's, and so the artist is using the color of the car to accentuate the passion of the couple. I mean, and then the whole composition on the piece, it's amazing. It really, and the thing is, it was funny. When I go in and look at I didn't like looking at it up close because, I mean, it's smartly done, but I mean, you look at how it's a very simplistic painting when you look at it. It's almost
impressionistic.
It is. It really is. It's all about the shapes here. And yeah, I mean, but this thing is great. And I read, Dan's, let's see, this is the published cover. I didn't even look at that just to see how they did that. Okay. But, in here, Dan talked about not being a big collector of paperback art, but definitely a fan. This cover really appealed to me for the content and composition. First, Al Rossi, and now, he's really happy. He's going to be his eyes peeled after that. But I think that's cool. It's like sometimes you see a piece that just, it's out of your, your genre wheelhouse, and it's just like, I gotta own it. And I think that's awesome. I think, but yeah, this piece is great. And I think, like, I read through some of the comments. I think Marcus talked about her hand is placed in such a way so you can't see up her skirt, but all that is, really cool thoughtfulness from the artist to kind of put those little teasing elements into that I didn't even notice at first, but then you see it and it's like, yeah, that's cool. I mean, the artist was really thinking through this whole moment to make you see that as a cover and want to buy this book. So
yep.
She's handcuffing herself. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I love this. I love the like choppiness of it. And to your point, like when you drill into it, it falls apart a little bit. But when you look at it at a short distance, which is what you would be doing, it works. It like there's almost a little bit of like artistic trickery at work here, but it's very effective.
Yep, agreed. So yeah, nice piece, Dan. You really did it. I mean, it's like I wonder where stuff like this comes up and surfaces. Is it an illustration auction with Heritage, or maybe I don't know, maybe Ruben was selling it. Who the heck knows? But I mean, at the end of the day, it's just cool when you see pieces like this come up that catch your eye. I mean, I went back to this like 2 or 3 times. I was like, I really like this piece a lot. So there we go. So I also like this piece a lot. A Frank Brunner piece in Rick W.'s Calf Gallery. Or it was Rick's, right? Yeah, Rick W.'s Calf Gallery. I don't know. I love Brunner, and definitely just all pencils. I could look at Brunner pencils all day long. I just think he's just always got a nice style, and this is compositionally great. Elric as a character is always pretty damn cool. So I just thought this was awesome. It's kind of got an Art Nouveau-y feel with the archway there.
Yeah, definitely.
I love the flowers. I mean, everything. I mean, this is
this works.
This works really well. It really, what is this, from 2004? So yeah, I just love his. I mean, look at the rendering style. I just
so much rendering.
He works it. So Frank Brunner, he's the man. So congrats to Rick W on that one. Then Leonardi and Al Williamson. This is from X-Men True Friends. I don't remember when did that come out? Does anybody know? 1999. Okay, there we go. It was in there. I love the composition. I love the storytelling on this one. I love the first 4 panels that, kind of covering up the center. I mean, man, this thing is just, I want to own this page. You kind of we talked about like Rizzo inks earlier and stuff, but Leonardi's got his own little, approach to the way he handles characters and lighting on them in a similar way, but to his own style. And this thing is all about mood and lighting. It's kind of quiet and then it's not quiet. I mean, it's just a really, really well thought out composition here. And yeah, Leonardi is so good. I've never owned anything by Rick, and I really should get that fixed because he obviously he's been pretty popular the last 12 months, right? I mean, at the end of the day, his Spider-Man 2099 is super popular. I looked into seeing if we can get him to OAX, and it was very doubtful, so we didn't even pursue him. I figured Leonardi might be a year 2 kind of guy that maybe kind of calms down a little bit and we can actually get him out to the show. But that's cool, when a guy who's been around as long as he is gets that popular again. I mean, I think that's freaking awesome.
Yeah. I really like your comments about the top 4 panels, because the rendering actually even changes like note a little bit, because the amount of detail and the amount of rendering in those top 4 panels shifts radically as kind of like the action starts to take place, and then it gets a little more graphic, gets a little more wild, like chunky in spots, and that's when everything is happening. It like the art lends itself to like the pace.
Yeah, very true. Very, very true. And you get Williamson inks on this thing too, which doesn't which don't suck, that's for sure. So great piece. And this is in Michael McIsaac. Wonderful. Michael's going to OAX, everybody. I saw a ticket purchased by him the other day. So for those of you who've not gotten to meet Michael in person, go to OAX. You're going to be there. Mr. Snork got his ticket, or tickets.
Yes.
That's right.
The Baroness will be attending as well.
See, exciting. That's hearing that like from Chris Kalaki, and Mike as well, saying, yeah, our sponsors are coming too. It's going to be fun. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a good time, everybody. I hope many of you can make it to OAX.
There's 2 people spending wild amounts of money instead of just 1.
That is true. Couples tickets. Yes, we have couples tickets. Let's see. This is by Ricardo Latina.
This is so cool.
Brian Norton's calf. Brian, you did well. I love this piece. This is like an etching, or what's the what I was gonna say. What is the etching when you actually etch into the plate and then you ink it up? What am I thinking? You know what I'm talking? It's because you use a burnishing tool.
Damn it!
It's because you do it in aluminum, right? Or something, because it's got to be in aluminum. Printing. No, it's not block printing. Somebody in the chat's gonna know exactly who's had a printmaking degree, because I should know this. I took printmaking in.
Does it start with an L?
I know it's bothering me too, but you literally use different. It's not scratch board. It's not silver point. I'm gonna end up getting
line of cut.
Well, that's close. It's getting closer. I'm gonna give up at this point. At any rate, to me, it has that effect, because what was cool about it as a printing thing was that, you basically are hand etching a plate, and with different tools, because you had like a burnishing tool so you can smooth things out. But the cool thing was that you then put the ink on the plate. So you could choose when and where you kind of made things darker or lighter. You could go in like on the eyes of that owl and make sure that you were taking, the ink off the plate there. And what you'd end up getting was something, if you took your time, was something like this, where it was almost like you were painting on the plate, and then you didn't know what you got, and then you could do it again, right? And mess around with, maybe you realize the textures weren't right in this one spot, so you go back in, subtly scratch it up a little bit more, run it through again, and you'd have a totally different piece. But anyways, I just thought this piece is amazing. I mean, look at the amount of detail on this thing.
Look at those birds.
I know. I just want to stop right there. I don't even care about Penguin. This is so well done. Yeah, I love this piece. And see, I'm gonna get the ding.
Well, I'll be Googling it after and then I'll text you.
Thank you. But I love it. And then and I love his vest here. If that wasn't there, it would feel a little different. But I love that. It just adds this little extra element that.
Well, it's almost like a callback to everything else that's going on in the piece.
Yep, you're right. Very, very true. So everybody's trying to throw things out there. It's not Zevia, Jason. But at any rate, Mr. Brian Norton, you got a winner here. This one's great.
That's beautiful.
It's got 20 comments on it, so clearly it hit the right chord with a lot of people. And Ricardo Latina, I mean, is that a name you're familiar with? I mean, I don't. I'll check them out later. I'm not familiar
Red
with
Jack.
them.
That's a great pickup.
Yep. Then this one I just picked it because this is I don't think we've picked anything by M. Schwiller before, but it's somebody whose artwork I've seen before. I think there's quite a few pieces on CAF by him. A cover from 1962. I just like I honestly as simple as it is. I mean, I liked it when I saw how they handled putting in this giant logo right there.
Oh yeah.
Well,
because composition make a lot more sense.
Exactly, because at first I was like, why in the heck did they leave all that open space? It just didn't make sense. And then I see that and I'm like, oh, all right. Well, now that I see how it was published, it actually works a whole lot better. But I don't know. I liked it. And M. Schmiller is, like I said, is an artist that did a lot of painting in, in pulp books and sci-fi stuff. And again, I just like the composition. Like, I don't know. So there you go. I'm always trying to find somebody out of the ordinary. So here's my pick of the week. Then this one kicked all kinds of butt. This
so good. I've seen this thing change hands a couple times, and every time somebody new picks it up, I'm like, God damn it, why don't I own this?
I know. It's back to that flowing hair on Chewbacca, or it's just like, how the heck did he render it so well? And again, this is Immonen pencils and Von Grawbadger inks.
Yeah.
But I mean, I want to see this piece in person. There's just so much action in here. I mean, it's just from the perspective of how the battle's going, but there's the movement in this piece is just amazing for two technically static figures drawn, as if they were photographed. I mean, like all comic books are. This thing has just so much motion in it. And I know it's because of Chewbacca's fur flapping in the wind, but still, this is it's just amazing. This is
to so successfully like embroil the two figures together, like where they overlap and like where Dengar's leg comes up and Chewbacca's arm goes behind. I mean, that's just unbelievable figure drawing.
Yeah.
He also made Dengar look like a badass, which I felt like was almost impossible up until this book.
There you go. And big words from big words, strong words from Chuck Arnold. Bold
statements.
Yes, Immonen, the most influential comic artist of the last 10 years.
It's him or Coy Bell.
Yeah, that's probably true.
How many clones of each of these guys do we have now?
Yeah, very true. I'm not going to argue with you guys. You both know what you're talking about. Big words by Chuck Arnold. Jason, are you drinking tonight? Inquiring minds want to know. I think Jason's having too much fun tonight. But yeah, no, I love this piece. And yes, I think we've seen this change hands a few times, but either way, I mean, it just, it's a desirable piece, right? I mean, definitely.
Who owns it now?
Good question. Jason Paul.
Okay, Jason, I'm next.
Marvel adapted Immonen as the house style. That's that. Yeah, I think you're right, Chuck.
I mean, he did a lot of those event books. He did, like they had him on high profile titles. He was an X-Men artist. He was doing Avengers. He was, I mean, yeah, that's hard to argue. So I won't.
And
Kennedy wants to know if you're talking about Intaglio.
I think that might be it, but I'm not gonna swear to it because I'm gonna go back and Google it myself after we're done here. Let's see. I got 4 more pieces to go here. This is in Hulk 213's CAF Gallery, longtime member on the site, over 15 years, I believe. Miguel Angel Sepulveda. I'm sure I butchered that. I just like that. Hulk's not my character, but I like Hulk when he's rendered. Is just angry, like he's a freaking powerhouse, right?
Massive, yeah.
And I just I thought this was just amazing. I really like this image a lot. And, you got Nick Klein doing Hulk right now. See, I think in our minds, we think a lot about who the current artists, how they render them. And Nick, of course, draws a fantastic Hulk too. But I like this a lot, and the style's a little different. I mean, it's funny that there's a lot of splatter going on this one too. But I like the contrast, the way they handled the Hulk versus the background there. I mean, I don't know.
Back in the day, weren't the Hulk's transformations tied to the moon?
Oh, I don't know.
Or like I might be misremembering this, but I want to say like the first few issues when they were still figuring out like what he was and what he was doing and why he did it and all that kind of stuff. I felt like there was something with his transformations, like kind of werewolfy, like having something to do with the moon. I could be way off base about that, but
you'll start getting shouted at in the chat if you are. But Sepulveda. Oh, but Khalil says you're right. So there you go. I was not aware of that. Sepulveda. I'll make sure I get that right next time. Jekyll and Hyde. But yeah, let me look at this. I mean, I really like this. I mean, there's a little bit of Lee Weeks in this. There's but I
see some like Lee Weeks or like Gabe Hardman.
Gabe Hardman too.
Was also a Hulk artist for a long time, so that makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, I like this. I really like that piece a lot. And so Hulk 213, clearly a Hulk fan. Let's see. So this was a commission. Cool. Well, congrats on that one. I really like that a lot. Then let's see. I got 3 more here. This one too. This is Ramon Box.
Yeah.
And this is a Spidey black suit piece. Again, perspective on this. I loved all the rendering in the cityscape, to be honest with you. I mean, and a little bit on the perspective, but I just thought, if you're going to put that much effort into it, it should be featured here on CAF. And so I'm
almost some like Chris Ware level, like technical drawing in the architecture back there. That's wow.
Agreed. I know. I mean, I came back to this one a couple times because it was like my 11-12 for a while, and then I'm like, no, this is too good to not feature it. And again, somebody who I don't think we featured anything by them before, but either way, really, really well done here.
And Spidey is so like spindly and organic by comparison. That's a nice contrast.
Yeah,
and I also like the way he subtly like fades the base foot into. Yeah.
Same thing. I mean, there's some cool stuff going on here, and a little bit of storytelling too. It's like, is Spidey going to be opening that window? Because that's not normally, if he's climbing up a wall, he's not going to be touching a window. So I don't know. I just there's a lot of fun stuff in here, and I can't say that the city is technically drawn perfectly, right? Because I don't think it is.
There's a little perspective weirdness in there in a couple spots, yeah, but like the level of effort can't be questioned.
Yep, exactly. So there you have it. So that one's a nice one. And who? This is in Killian C's CAF gallery. I've been in Killian's CAF gallery before. Good stuff. And Marcus got the first comment on that one
right there.
Then Mark Brooks. This is in Frank Lanza's CAF gallery. I don't know. It's like, I don't know. I just picked Mark Brooks. I like Mark Brooks' stuff a lot. I mean, I think his style just kind of, I don't know, when was this piece done? Do we have a year on here? Doesn't look like it. Immoral X-Men #1 cover. I guess that should help everybody figure out when it was done. But I just like the piece a lot. I mean, it's a very cold piece, obviously, but I like the fact that he's kind of wedged in between these two kind of rocky surfaces. Everything just kind of points down into her. I just compositionally, it's a cool piece, and and you're working in gray tones with light blues for color on it. I don't know, just all around, I like the piece a lot. And
yeah, it's an interesting challenge from an artistic perspective, because her costume is like, this costume is very like, flourishy and wild and whatever, but it's one color.
Right.
I don't know how, he does a good job of making that interesting.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, the more you think about it, it's like, I wouldn't want to have to paint a charder with a white costume in a snowy field.
White.
Yeah. How am I going to do that? And yet, like you said, there's the reflection of the dark blue and the on the cape, and it highlights in other places. Yeah, just a great piece. And Mark, just fantastic. I've never owned anything by Mark either, but I've always admired his work. I'm trying to read the chat. Kazra says 1 million American homes with the same countertops. I don't know what that's a reference to, but hey, he's my CEO. I have to
Weird
dude. Yeah. Yes, and you too can get pitched by Kazra, and he'll explain the virtues of I don't know, countertops apparently in Florida.
It's got something to do with MODOK. That's all I know. Countertops is spelled with a K.
Right, exactly. Last but not least, I had picked this before Keith passed away, and this is from Flash 309. And I think didn't we have Nick Perucci picked up a Giffen Flash page the other day on Anthony's show on Tuesday. I think that's when I picked this piece. But Malstead inks on this thing, who I thought was always a great
that's
companion.
the pairing. Yeah, that's the pairing in my mind.
So I love it, and I always part of the like I said at the beginning, I don't know why the hell I picked up Legion of Superheroes other than his artwork. I mean, it just caught me, and it's probably a little bit the team book like I mentioned, but the thing I love the way he did Kirby Crackle, and there's a little bit of that here in that the second panel on the last row. I mean, there was, if you go back and look at a lot of his stuff, I mean, he had, those kind of allusions to Kirby, and his crackle was so him. If you look at it, you're never going to mistake that crackle for any other artist but Giffen's.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how do you draw an energy element that's been done so many times by so many artists, but you look at his and it's his. There was somebody who posted a piece on Facebook. I think it was an artist. Was it maybe Jose Garcia Lopez? I don't know. Somebody will remember, but it was an artist, and they said these are the only two pieces I have by him. And the thing was, one of them was just like all energy, and it was like, that's just cool. But
there was a lot of that going on in Omega Men back in the day. Like there was a lot of just like,
right. And at any rate, I mean, if he can make a guy like me end up buying, a DC book with that I've didn't know anything about any of the characters, and it was his covers and his art.
Did you know back then that Cockrum designed their costumes? Was that a factor?
No, but to me it was just, you're right. I mean, that's funny. I think Team Book probably Cockrum influence that I didn't know of. Probably all helped to draw me in, but it was definitely Giffen's approach to his covers. I mean, I've never looked at a Superman book or a Wonder Woman book or even a Batman book. Never, ever. And then when those books came out, it was just like, it probably was like I saw two of them side by side, consecutive books, and I'm like, shoot, how can I not read these stories?
Well, I kind of liked. I always liked. I'm a huge Legion fan, and I kind of always liked how up until somewhat recently, in modern times, like they were kind of on an island, like what the Legion was doing was untethered from so much of like DC continuity, so to speak, right? Like they had their own continuity, and then they like deliberately made some storytelling choices where it was like, well, this is like Atomic. It's like its own thing. And like that always appealed to me too.
Yeah. Well, this is
this Dr. Fate? Yeah, this is Dr. Fate.
Dr. Fate, yeah. Yep. Just good stuff here. And and Chuck mentions Giffen changed his style for Trencher. Mm-hmm. And and it was funny, I didn't even know what Trencher was. And as I was doing I was going through looking at a lot of his work, and I came across Trencher, which I wasn't familiar with, and I was like, wow, you're right. It was a real strange diversion in his style.
The whole thing is just insane. And he did a little bit of like Lobo work that was stylistically similar after that. But he went through this period where it was like he was almost, I mean, if you knew him from Legion of Superheroes, it was literally unrecognizable. You'd be like, that's Keith Giffen drawing that book?
That's crazy. And I saw even guys like George Pratt had mentioned that he had inked on some of Giffen's work as well. It's just like, it's amazing the number of creators that got to work with him and it was also the same thing. It was just he was a very creative gentleman, in his storytelling and his approach to art. And you don't see that too often. I mean, where everybody kind of had that same mindset. And they all said he was a curmudgeon, which again, I can't say one way or the other because I never got to meet him. But the fact that he was that creative, like Bob Layton saying, you don't need to give me the pitch, man. I know you're going to do a great job on whatever it is. Just go be you, do it, and to have that kind of trust in somebody. So yeah,
he's easily a top 10 artist or, creator in my book. Yeah, it's a huge loss. And I don't know. Yeah, that one like kind of hit me hard.
Yeah, same here. And so Razorback Fan added this one to their collection, and yeah, I've been looking for a Giffen page forever, just trying to find the right thing, right era, and now it's they're going to be pretty hard to come by, I think.
Yeah, I can't get a Legion page to save my life. I mean, we all know there's a handful of people out there buying them all up, but yeah, that would be a big hole filled in my collection.
I would too, but that's why I've actually been looking elsewhere, just trying to find something that's from that same period, that preferably that Larry inked. And because something like that at this point, yeah, I'll take a nice flash page. Now I regret not talking to Anthony about that beforehand, because I saw it, I'm like, yeah, it's a flash. I don't that's not for me. But now, yeah, maybe I'll do something different or think about it differently. So Chris, we did it. We're under 3 hours by 10 seconds.
Hey,
we did well. But yeah, if I come up with whatever that printmaking technique is, I'll text you.
I think Matt got it, unless it's divergent.
I think so too. I mean, maybe my printmaking teacher had a different name for it, but I think Matt got it right with the intaglio. But I'm gonna still double check that. So lots of fun as always, Chris. I assume you're gonna be in here next week, right?
I will be. Yep. Come hell or high water.
Very good. Hey, you know what? I really didn't look at a lot of stuff posted this week. I knew going into this last week that there was, we had a lot of stuff to go through and check out. But I'll be curious to see if everything holds true, because usually with New York, I would like to think we don't have as much art to go through since so many people are at the show. But the following week after New York, I think we're going to have a lot of work to do for that.
I'm already seeing awesome stuff that people are posting online. Yeah, it's hopefully they get stuff on CAF quickly, because there's some really good. So I've already seen like 3 commissions where I'm like, oh, what? So.
Well, I haven't seen those. So I'm like, I know it's going to be a difficult week. But listen, thank you as always, Chris.
Thank you.
I'll see you next week.
Bye.
All right, everybody. Well, I guess we can call it a night. As always, it's been a lot of fun. It was nice having Bob on, as always, and getting to see Chris and Michael as well. I mean, I'm looking forward to getting to hang out with those guys at OAX. I have no idea where we're at with those VIP tickets, but I can tell you that I know we're over 90% sold out on what we had allocated for it. So if you're thinking about coming, we have less than 4 months now. So and if you want to, be a part of the VIP event where you get to hang out, I can assure you that the upcharge over the VIP event versus the weekend ticket is, that difference is going all into the event, because that's it's going to be a lot of fun. It's open bar, pretty much dinner for everybody. And I can't tell you what you're eating yet, because we haven't really gone over the menu, Kazra and I, and finalized anything. But it's going to be a great time. We've got a couple sponsors as a show now. That's gonna be interesting. So they're gonna participate a little bit in stuff as well. But yeah, it's gonna be a good time. So I hope everybody is excited as Kazra and I are, for OAX. And I could say I talked a bit with Mr. Morger last week, and we're gonna have a few people on over the course of the next 5 or 6 months in the lead up to Como as well, so that we can promote that show too. We wanted to make sure that everybody knows that Morgan and I are longtime friends, and we talked about just the idea of making sure that everybody knows that we're pulling for each other to make sure both shows do incredibly well. I mean, at the end of the day, we need more shows like Como and like OAX out there thriving. And it's not easy. It's definitely not easy to do an art only show, but I think, we put the right effort and the proper mindset together and make that work. And And I think Como had a few announcements today. Sienkiewicz is going out there. He did the logo for the show. So, good things are happening over on their side of things as well. So never forget that. And I might even try to go to Como now that Comic Art Live is the week before Como in May. I might actually be able to consider it now. So you never know. I haven't committed to it yet. I asked him how to get a room, and he said you have to start looking at Airbnbs right away. So that might make it harder to commit, because I don't know if I can commit 6 months in advance to an Airbnb in Italy, but you never know. It's definitely a possibility. So, all right, calling it a night. Now, just remember, I am off tomorrow, but I will have Scott Collins on with me at 2 p.m. on Saturday. We will be doing an interview, selling some artwork, and I hope if you're free and not at New York Comic Con, you'll swing by and check out the interview. I know that Scott had worked with Keith Giffen as well, so I'm sure we'll be talking a bit with Scott about Keith and his work with him over the years. I think he had worked on quite a few projects with him, and it was interesting. Well, I'm not going to talk about Keith, at any length. It seems like every creator that I've spoken with has worked with him. I mean, Andy Kuhn, who we have on in December for a show, I know did some recent work with Keith as well. So it's just amazing how creators who have a very diverse skill set and a passion for things get around a lot and get to work with so many different creators. So a great loss. And I think we're going to end up talking about Keith numerous times over the next couple of months. But anyways, have a wonderful night. I will see everybody